Welcome to Dark Exodus.
Folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought series right here on the OTPOT YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black ass is here. Tonight, we were supposed to be interviewing Reverend Corinne Mack, the president of the Mecklenburg chapter of the N.A.A.C.P. But I just got a letter from her PR people literally like 15 minutes ago saying that she's not going to be able to make it because of the weather. Those of you who are in North Carolina, y'all know that we were under like a tornado. We were under like a tornado warning. And, she's traveling and she didn't want to have to rush to get home. According to her PR people, she didn't want to have to rush to the interview. So they're going to reschedule. So here we are, folks. Here we are. But y'all know I still want to give y'all a show tonight. So no matter what, I'm still up on here, even though that be the case. I'm still up on here. So what we're going to do is I had a few brothers lined up. Y'all got to excuse the background noise. I had a few brothers lined up to come on anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have the freestyle round table, as you can see right here underneath this here. It says D.X.L freestyle. So we're going to go ahead and do the freestyle round table. I'm going to bring in my man, because brother P that's supposed to be on tonight, and brother TNP, the nameless protagonists, I believe. Yeah, I'm gonna bring them on, man, and we just gonna chop it up. We're not gonna let nothing stop this here show. So yeah. But before we get started, as always, y'all know I come on. I have to thank y'all for your donations. I have to thank you for your subscriptions, your contributions, and your support. Y'all look out for this platform so much, man. Y'all do. And that's why I always start every program like this thanking y'all for your support, man, because you don't have to do it. You don't have to watch these streams every week. You don't have to freaking subscribe to this channel. You don't have to freaking watch these videos, like them, share them. You don't have to do any of that. And you definitely don't have to drop your hard-earned coins, but you choose to do so. You choose to do so. All right. And for that, I'm very appreciative. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm appreciative. And I thank you. I really, really thank you. And also sitting up here with me tonight. Come on, Shorty. My little man, Shorty Doo-Wop, is here. I know y'all probably y'all probably listen to some of the videos that I do, and you hear a child's voice in the background as part of the music. This little fella right here, he has been doing stuff for me. He's actually one of the original members of TPOT, because he's been recording stuff for me, man, ever since he was about 5 years old. And what are you, 13 now? 14. I mean, he was my original mix man, my original hype man. He's on a lot of my stuff. So when you hear those little voices, this little fella right here, little Shorty Doo-Wop, one of the original members of TPOT Media right here. Well, he ain't little no more, but like I said, this is one of the original members of TPOT. Say what's up, Shorty.
Hi.
That's my little man right there. But yeah, we're gonna get at it. I'm gonna let me go ahead and reach out to brother P that and the nameless protagonists, because see, I wasn't planning on having them on until after the president of the NAACP came on, but she stood me up, which y'all, sometimes that happens, y'all. It happens. Sometimes it happens. And as you can see from my backdrop, y'all know I'm not home. I'm somewhere else. I'm at my folks' house. But yeah, she stood me up, y'all. and which is crazy. So I don't know when I'm going to have her on here. Like I said, I spoke to her PR person, and her PR person wants to reschedule. I don't know when we're going to do that. I have to see, because I kind of book my shows way in advance, and I have something else lined up for next week. So I don't know. I don't know when that's gonna happen, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Just like I told her PR person, I don't know. I don't know. When I get stood up, man, that just kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth, man. So it's like, it's like whatever now. And like I said, my shows get booked weeks in advance. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to have it back on, y'all. So I hope y'all are not disappointed with the fact that she's not going to be here, because I know a few of you probably came in just to see her, and she ain't coming, y'all. She ain't coming. Yeah, she's not coming. She done stood us up, y'all. She done stood us up, Oh, yeah, I see you up there, Brother P. That. I'm sending you the link now, brother. I'm sending it to you right now. So whenever you can get somewhere and you can jump on, you can go ahead and jump on now. I know we wasn't supposed to chop it up to probably like 10:30 or so, but we have been stood up by the N.A.A.C.P. So onward we march. Y'all know how we do it here. You know how we do it here. I'm sending it to you now, Brother P. That. Let me hit up Brother TNP. I don't know. Let me see if he in the chat room. Nope. I see Peace. What's going on? Poppy Pro Black. I see you up there, man. What's up? Into the Black Soul Phrenic 318. What's good? DJ M. What's good? Brother Edward Hyde. I see you up there. Brother Tyrone. What's good with it, man? Brother Brandon. I see you up there too, brother. Yeah, let me go ahead, get in contact with him. Hit Brother TMP with the link, because like I said, they wasn't expecting to come on till later, but we have been stood up by the N.A.A.C.P. I mean, I drove in this weather, so I mean, the weather ain't that bad. I mean, I drove. I think they might be afraid of the questions that I would be asking them. They might have looked at some of my stuff and was like, oh man, we got to answer questions by this guy. Hey, what's good, Dollar Will? I see you up there, brother. We got to answer this guy's questions? No way. Let's cancel. Because y'all know, y'all brothers that's from the Queen City, which is under her jurisdiction, there's a lot been going on in the Queen City. And I was going to ask about all this Queen City stuff, man. I was going to ask about all of this Queen City stuff that's going on. The shootings, those tent cities out there, that we ride by all the time. And my wife be wanting to give them food and money and all that kind of stuff. I was going to ask them about all of that. Unemployment, that freaking de-escalation freaking center that they claim to have constructed for the police so they can learn to de-escalate as opposed to shoot folks in the head. I was going to ask her about all of that stuff, because she's N.A.A.C.P. She's the president. She's supposed to know this stuff, right? So I was going to be asking her about all of that. And I don't know. I don't know if she saw some of my stuff, y'all, and was like, man, we ain't going up on his show. She probably looked at some of my stuff, y'all, and she knows what we do here. And she was like, we're not going up there. Hey, Brother Kenny, what's good with it, man? I see you up there, man. What's good with it? Yeah, man. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on. So what we're going to do, we just going to do a little freestyle, get up here, get a few brothers up here, chop it up, talk about whatever. If you want to come on, just let me know. Matter of fact, I'll even do one better. I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat. Do that. want to throw down, come on up here. We're going to throw down tonight, man. Freestyle. Y'all know how we did it last time. You come up here, you talk about whatever you want to talk about, and if you're talking good stuff, you get to stay. If you're talking whack, we throw you off. That's what we're doing tonight. Yeah, we're going to do that tonight. Yeah, we're going to kind of change gears. I don't know if y'all was here last night. Last night was wicked, boy. It was a wicked debate. And then after the debate was over, a lot of brothers came on. I had Fantastic was on, Twin Man, Game Changer, The Angry Man. Everybody was on here last night. And the show went like 6 damn hours, which is about 4 hours longer than I like it to go. But it went to like 3 o'clock in the morning. The brothers did a lot. We had a few hiccups because it's always got to be somebody to come on there and say something crazy or do something crazy. We can't go one night without that kind of crap. So but after that, it was cool. I actually got a message from that person, and they said, hey, look, X, I'm sorry, that was crazy last night, so we're going to let bygones be bygones, man. It's water under the bridge. I'm not much for holding grudges. That's not really my thing. Number one, it doesn't solve anything. And number two, I'm too damn old. So that's all water on the bridge, man. And we're doing things new and different in 2020 anyway. So I mean, we're just gonna get past that kind of nonsense, man, and do what we do, y'all. That's it. That's how we doing it from here on in. I'm trying to make this platform bigger, better, bolder, bringing you new stuff, bringing you the debates, bringing you some good guests. I mean, that's what we all about here, man. We ain't about none of that nonsense. So that's pretty much it. I have been getting a lot of debate requests lately. I mean, my email box stay overrun with debate requests. And I have to be honest with y'all, a lot of the debate requests that y'all send me, I'm not going to be able to make those happen because sometimes the people y'all want to debate, they don't want to debate each other. They just don't. I mean, that's the reality. I mean, they don't want to debate each other. For whatever reason, they don't want to do it. So usually when y'all send me a debate, I have to go to another person down the line and, try to get them to come on. If there's someone that's on the opposite side of their argument. See, that's the rub. See, it's not really hard getting the debaters. It's like I have to find somebody who's on the opposite sides of each argument. And when I get a request and the two people that y'all send to me, if one of those people don't want to debate the other, depending on who I got to say yes first, now I have to find that person another opponent. And that opponent has to have pretty much the same view as the person who was going to debate in the beginning. That's the rub. I mean, I don't really have a problem finding debaters. I mean, I get enough emails, man. I probably got enough people to debate for the next 2 months. But it's finding the people who are on the either side of the arguments and the numbers and how many emails I get. I have to go through all that kind of crap. So I mean, that's where the rub comes in at. But I'm trying to make it happen for y'all, man. Because believe it or not, y'all pick the debaters. I don't. Y'all pick the topics. I don't. Yeah, I don't pick the topics. I don't pick the debaters. Y'all pick the debaters. Y'all pick the topics. All right. So keep them coming. That's all. That's all I can say. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. If y'all keep sending me requests, I'll keep lining them up. I promise you that. You keep sending me requests, I will keep lining them up. You got my promise on that. You got my word on that. But yeah, I'm gonna sit here and shoot the breeze with the folks. So what do y'all think about the debates, man? What's y'all feedback on the debates thus far? What do y'all think of the debates? What do y'all think of them? Are they good? Are they bad? Because I've had a couple people write me and they're like, oh, X, you should do this, that, and the other thing. But I do have, hey, what's good, Third Ward? I see you up there, brother. I do have an announcement. I wanted to announce this last night, but it got so late the debate went to 3 o'clock in the morning. So I said, I would announce it tonight. Now, what I'm going to be doing on debate nights from here on in, we're going to have like an undercard, if you will. You know, like when you have a boxing match and you have the main event at the end, and then you have a little undercard. I think that's what we're going to start doing. What we're going to start doing is we're going to do a small debate, maybe like a 30-minute debate, which means that I might have to start the show a little earlier. Instead of starting it at 9:30, I might have to start it at 9 o'clock. And what I'm going to do is I'll do that half an hour debate, that little 30-minute, debate between, two people that want to debate. And then at 9:30, we'll do the big debate. So it'll be like a warm-up debate, like I said, like an undercard fight. That's what I'm planning on doing. What's good, brother RJ? I see you up there, brother. So that's what I'm trying to do. TNP, what's good, man? I just sent you the link, brother. I see you up there. You said you sent me something? Yeah, I just sent you the link, brother. Check my emails here. Okay. Central Time. So that's behind us, right? What are you, like an hour behind us or something like that? All right. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. I just read it just now. That's cool. Yeah. So what do y'all think about that? About that little that old undercard thing, you know? Yeah, brother TNP. Their PR people, the PR person got in contact with me like 20 minutes before I'm about to go on and give me this nonsense about how, they in the bad weather, not realizing that I'm in the same area that they're in. Talking about how bad the weather is, and the weather threw them for a loop, and they scared and all this all kind of nonsense. And so like 20 minutes before we supposed to come on, they wanted to reschedule, which is insane, which is totally insane, by the way. Yeah, which is totally insane. So that's where we are. So I have flipped it over to a freestyle because y'all know I'm not going to let the show be stopped. We're not going to do that. We are not. We're going to keep it going because this is what we do here. We keep it going. Yep. Stood me up, man. Oh, of course, brother TNP. I had notes and everything. I had newspaper articles that I had took notes from and all of that. Yeah, all of that, brother TNP. Yeah, all of that. Yeah, I was ready for him. Loaded for bear. Loaded for bear. But I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. I mean, maybe they looked at some of my stuff and saw the type of interviews I do, and they was like, you know what? We're not going on this guy's show. Because they gave me something's going on with the weather type thing. And like I said, I drove in the same weather. I mean, we're in the same area. We're in the same area. I drove in the same weather. So, I mean, I guess I believe it. I'm not sure. I guess I believe what they said. I'm not going to sit up here and say I'm all in on the belief of it. But if that's what they say, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. you know. So that's the story on that, brothers. That's the story on it. Like, y'all know me, who I say gonna be up here, be up here. You know, what's good, Code Breakers? I see you up there, brother. Tar City, what's good with it, man? What's good with it, brother? There's the link, man, if y'all want to jump on, you know, because I got a couple really, really sharp brothers coming on in a little bit, man. So, you know, just jump on if you feel like it. If you don't, that's cool too. You know, that's cool too. Kind of freestyling it tonight. You know, y'all know usually I have all the stuff in the background and all the kind of nonsense, but I'm not home. So I don't have my green screen. You know, I'm at my man house. You know, that's what I'm saying. I drove in this weather. All right. And my man, he's like 20 minutes away from me. And I got here just fine. Yeah, I got here just fine. So I don't know what kind of weather. Maybe on the other side of town, the weather's a little different. Maybe they experiencing some different weather patterns or something. But I mean, I got here just fine. I mean, it's raining a little bit, but you know, it's not like it's not like no typhoon type thing going on out there. Not even close. Not even close, man. Not even close. So, like I said, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's what it is, you know. This ain't the first time, no, man. This is the thing, though. When I find myself getting stood up by guests, right? I've never been stood up. I've never been so no, they haven't, brother RJ. They haven't. They just like, oh, could we reschedule at a later date? Nah, they haven't, brother RJ. Nope. 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 But see, that's the thing. Usually when I book a guest and I find myself stood up, it's usually a female guest. I haven't had a brother stand me up at all as long as I've been doing this stuff. And I've been doing this kind of stuff for a while because those of you who follow the Proper Thought series, y'all know I actually used to be a radio talk show host, years ago. And I used to do the same thing, book guests, stuff like that. The only guest that will come on no matter what, if we make a date, is my friend Sister Ali. When I have female guests, there's often times when I find myself stood up. I've never been stood up by the brothers. That's never happened. And the only female guest that I have, a female guest of high caliber that has never stood me up is Sister Ali. When Sister Ali says she coming, she coming. That's it. No matter what, rain, sleet, snow, hail, firestorm, if she's in the car or on the top of Mount Everest, if she says she's gonna be there on a night, she's there. All right. That's just who she is. So, I mean, comes with the territory, man. It's kind of what it is, man. I mean, there's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can do. There's just nothing. There is nothing you can say or do. You just kind of have to go with the flow, man. Keep the show going. That's it. I mean, that's it. I mean, nothing you can do about it, man. Yeah, you're right, brother RJ. It is, but I mean, what you gonna do? What you gonna do, brother? Brother Brandon, what's good with it, man?
So what's happening, X? What's happening?
Same old stuff, brother. What's going on?
Oh, not much. I was just checking in about the lady. I guess was supposed to be on the show, and I guess you're saying that she didn't show up.
Yeah, man. They didn't. Her PR people didn't get in contact with me until like 20 minutes before we were about to go on the air, which I thought was ridiculous. Because that being the case, they could have hit me up at like an hour, 2 hours, something like that. But I mean, they got in contact with me literally 20 minutes before airtime. Like, really?
How long was this set up for? Like a week? No.
Yeah, last week. I set this up last week.
Last week. That's messed up. Just now 20 minutes, man. That's messed up.
I mean, come on, man. I would never do that. I would never do that, man. If I'm supposed to be somewhere, if I'm not gonna come, you're gonna know at least 2 hours before time. I'm not gonna wait 20 minutes and then hit you up and be like, "Yo, Brandon L, I ain't coming."
Right, right. So what was the excuse though? Was they saying the weather or something?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I'm not home. Okay, I'm at
Right.
my man house. Right. I was gonna do it from here. Um, and I drove. I drove in the same weather. We all in the same area. All right, we're all in the same area. And I drove here. I didn't have any problems. I mean, it's raining a little bit, but I mean, it didn't stop me. It didn't
Now
stop
female
me.
drivers, you know
So
how female drivers are. Could be something. I don't
yeah,
know.
I don't know, man. It is
Yeah.
what it is, though. Like I said,
But, but hey, how
and
you feel
they
about this
asked
whole like?
me,
How you feel about that
go
old
ahead.
Gayle King situation? Or did
Oh,
you hear about it?
believe it or not, oh yeah, I heard about it. Believe it or not, before we left home, I was in a car with my wife, and she was playing it. She was playing an excerpt of it, on her phone. And I told her, I said, Gayle King needs to be fired, man. She needs to be fired.
Mm.
She needs to be fired. And the reason why she needs to be fired is because if you put a man in that same position doing the same thing, trying to besmirch the name of a dead female celebrity of that
Oh, he
caliber,
gone.
he
Yeah.
would have been fired. Yeah, he'd have been
Facts.
fired that night.
No
He'd have been
question
fired
about
that
it.
night, man. He would have. Yeah, he'd be out of
Hashtag
there.
Me Too. All the
So,
women groups, they would have got him out of here, man.
uh, out of
That's a good
there.
point.
But one thing I did like about it, one thing I did like though, the way Lisa
Lisa
Leslie
Leslie. Yeah.
handled
Yeah.
the way she handled that, man, was very tasteful. So kudos to her. All
Yes,
right. The
sir.
way she
Salute to
handled
her,
it, man,
man.
yeah, she handled that with so much class, man. She did. She shut Gayle right on down, man. So
She
I mean,
did. She
I
did.
think, yeah, I think Gayle should be fired. I think she should be fired, man. Because if
But you
that
know,
was a dude, brother Brandon.
she blaming CBS though. She blaming CBS. I guess they gave her the questions. I guess I guess they give them the little card to read or whatever to give the questions out. So she's blaming them.
Oh, so she blaming it on the white man now because the white
Exactly, white
man gave her
supremacy.
the
Right,
questions.
right. That's what it was.
It's the white man's fault, y'all.
they need to they need to come out and
I
say
didn't
something like
even
it's not
do
Gail.
it.
They need to come out and say it's not her fault. It's our fault. We the ones gave her the questions to ask. If that's true.
Oh, please, please. So basically, she's saying that because she dances for the white man, she'll ask somebody anything. They tell them to ask her. Come on, man.
Right,
That's
right,
BS.
right.
That's BS. That's BS,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Come
Even
on.
I was shocked to see a lot of rappers come out and go at her. Like they went at her hard though. Like Snoop
Well,
Dogg, 50 Cent and them.
yeah, well, she's on the internet now, playing victim. Oh, I can't believe it was taken the way it was taken, playing victim
Yeah,
now.
yep,
Yeah, playing
exactly.
victim, Come on, man.
But,
But we
but
we
I,
saw, we was gonna see that.
but I had a problem.
Go ahead.
Actually, be honest with you, with 50 Cent and Boosie going at her, and they was bringing up race, and I'm like, man, y'all whole career was talking about harming black folks, other black people, damaging your community yourselves. So they was bringing up like,
Hmm.
how could you do that as a black woman, a black person coming at another black person? But I'm like, y'all was doing the same thing yourselves, especially Boosie. He known for always going at his own people.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Often, especially people who are high profile, celebrities and whatnot. Now they kind of use the black thing, either
Yeah,
we black and we proud, or
stay on
we're
code.
getting we're getting certain treatment because we're black. They use that stuff kind of when it's at their convenience. I
Right.
mean, they use it when it's at their convenience now. It's
Hmm.
got an off and on switch. Yeah, it has an off and on switch. So I'm not surprised, man. I'm not surprised that She's now playing victim, and I'm also not surprised that you got people who used to kind of do the same thing in a sense now
50
crying
Cent,
foul. Yeah,
especially
now they
50 Cent.
they crying foul. Yeah, they're
Yes,
crying
sir.
foul. But what I am glad to see though, brother Brandon, I'm finally glad to see that black men, the brothers, are finally starting to circle around something, because the same thing happened before with Kobe, when these freaking white female reporters, this white female
Hmm.
reporter from the Washington Post, she had did the same thing, talked about these allegations. And I mean, Kobe's helicopter hadn't been on the ground 2 hours before she threw this up there, and the backlash was so bad for her that they suspended her from the newspaper. She had
Oh,
to
they
move
suspended
into a
her. They didn't
hotel.
fire her.
Now they just suspended her. Now they're thinking about firing her. But see,
Oh,
this
okay,
was the
okay.
thing. See, they suspended her, and see, somebody leaked out her address. And
Mm,
on Twitter, it wasn't just us coming after her, it was them white boys too. And then white
right,
boys was
right.
threatening to kill her and drag her in the street and choke her
Wow.
and hang
So
her
our life in
and all
danger
this
right
kind of
now.
nonsense. Oh yeah. I'm guessing she wished she hadn't have did that to Kobe, because see, when they do something like that to a black person, right? They know that normally with a black person, not too much gonna be said, not too much is gonna
Exactly.
be done. But see, this is the thing now. They wouldn't have cared if it was just us black men attacking them. But see, it's white
Facts.
men too. It's white men
Yes,
too.
sir.
Hispanic men too. So now you got men in general coming after her. So of course, it's a big deal. She's scared. The newspaper was scared because I think a couple people threatened to come there and do something. So they was like,
Yep.
"Look here, girl, we got to get you up out of here, because we can't have folks coming. We can't have folks coming up here with the craziness." You know.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, and I don't think she's been reinstated. I still think she's under suspension.
And they
I
acted
think
like
she's
he
still
was
under
found
suspension.
guilty. They acted like he was found guilty over some 17 years ago where
I
he was. They let him go. So they dropped the charges, whatever. So what they talking about?
Well, brother Brandon, you know why this is. The fact remains is that Kobe's black, this girl was white. If this was a black chick, no one would care. You would never hear about it. It'd be buried. It'd be buried. Just like with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson actually did time. Okay, Mike Tyson
Hmm.
did time. They don't even talk about Mike Tyson's case as much as they've talked about Kobe's case since he's
That's a
been
good
dead.
point.
And Kobe was never convicted of anything. He was never convicted of anything. So
Yes, sir.
that goes to show that, hey, you know, that goes to show. Oh, Stat, what's good, brother P? That what's good with it, man?
What's cracking, brothers? How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
what's
We can hear
happening, P.
you.
Dad? What's happening, Mike?
What's up, Brandon? What's cracking, dog?
Well, we had a little change of schedule, brother P. That the president of the N.A.A.C.P canceled on me 20 minutes before airtime.
Ain't that
So
about nothing?
yeah. So here it is. We're freestyling now. I thought we was gonna get up here, have a little round table and kind of discuss the interview, but the interview ain't gonna happen. So I guess now we're just discussing.
Well, it bees like
That's
that,
where we at.
man. Yeah, bees like that. So, but I heard you
Yeah,
say
well,
that
I
you
just
had a
wish.
bunch of stuff on the log for her. I heard you say you had a bunch of stuff you was going to ask her.
Oh, oh yeah, man. I had plenty of questions for her. Because she's the North Carolina chapter president. So I was gonna go right into what's going on in North Carolina as far as shooting, police brutality, the homelessness, tent city, all of that. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all of that. So I mean, I guess I have to save it for whenever if ever I should say we finally get her on. You know,
Word, word.
that's where we at. That's
That's
where
where
we
we
at.
at with it. That's where we at with it.
Yeah.
So I heard y'all
So
talking about, I heard you guys talking about that Gayle King interview with Lisa Leslie and how well that sister handled her.
Oh yeah, oh
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. What'd you think about that, brother P? What'd you think about that?
Well, Gayle is out of pocket, man. Her and Oprah, they are in cahoots with the devil and all of his kinfolks, man, when it comes to dealing with
Yes,
black
sir.
people, man. They in cahoots strong. I lit her up on Twitter, man. I lit her up. I had some relatives who saw me light Gayle up on, I told her that she needs to have a Drano smoothie. Her and Oprah need to take a Drano smoothie, man. So
Drano smoothie.
yeah, man. So because they need to settle down. They all just need to just take several seats. These chicks,
Yeah,
man, with their double standards and with their selective enforcement of their, you know, um, celebritard morality and their, you know, their lousy feminist talking points. It's unfortunate, man. And people like to say, you know, um, well, Oprah and Gayle don't really hate black men. But the thing is that, well, we can't tell. From the
yeah,
abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
And so they're selectively
exactly.
enforcing all of this. That's one of the problems with that's one of the problems um, when uh, when pop culture and celebrities and their shenanigans, it, uh, well, particularly the mainstream media, and the narratives and the things that they impose upon the general population, but our people in particular. This is one of the reasons why brothers like you, Brother X, and some of the other people in the new black media, that's why we are the game changers. People in the
Yep.
new black media and people on YouTube, and now we got a voice and we push back strong against that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, our voice is so loud. And like you said, I think that, brothers speaking up, coming out, and there's a lot of sisters on our behalf too, man, that's coming up and speaking out against these broads, just, getting all, slick about the mouth when it comes to talking to black people, man. Did you see that?
Mhm.
Did you see in the video where even the actor, the white boy, Michael Rappaport? Did y'all see that?
Uh-uh.
White boy,
What
Do
happened?
tell.
yeah, white boy actor, and you've seen him in some stuff. Michael Rappaport was even going in on Gayle.
Yeah, I know who he is, but I didn't see that.
You-
I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
Michael Rappaport went in. He went in strong. I mean, I was like, I just want to make sure. I was thinking, you better be careful what he say, because what I'm saying. Even though he was, taking up for the brothers, he taking up for Kobe in particular. You know what I mean? We only want to hear so much, from the white boys, even though we appreciate their support. You know.
right, right.
Yeah,
And I was gonna
well,
say, when Oprah was coming out, doing a documentary with about Russell Simmons, she backed out, and I think it's because the system was calling her out on that shit too,
mm,
because they was really going in on Oprah on that. Like,
Yeah.
why
yeah,
you ain't
well, I
talking about
was,
Harvey Weinstein and Oh, my bad. That's my bad. I'm
yeah,
at work.
yeah, Harvey Weinstein. I mean, Harvey Weinstein is actually in court right now for accused sexual assault on multiple folks, and Harvey Weinstein was one of her people. Okay, and stories have it that she was actually bringing those girls, introducing those girls to Harvey Weinstein. So I mean, why you're not talking about that? Why you're not rubbing his face in the mud and doing documentaries and
Right. Exactly.
having Gayle interview some of these folks he allegedly sexually assaulted? Because that was her boy. I mean, she was in cahoots with Weinstein, if I'm
Yeah.
correct here.
Yeah,
She's
he was
she's in
their cat
cahoots with
and
him.
all that, man. Gayle and all of them, man. The thing is that, you know, and I know that people, like, they hear Harvey Weinstein's name, but what people don't really, did Brandon drop off? I guess he dropped off.
Yeah, yeah, drop
What
off.
people are probably really not aware of is how far Harvey Weinstein's reach was. Like, if
Mm,
like, to the people in the chat, shout out to the chat, you know, pay attention. Like, when you're watching like if you have a Netflix night or when you're just watching movies, pay attention to the credits. I know you probably, we don't always sit around and watch the credits, but when all this stuff started going down, man, I started paying attention to the credits. Man, you would not believe how far Harvey Weinstein's reached, man. In the movie, you just Harvey Weinstein Productions. I mean, like tens and hundreds and thousands of movies that you come across, and he has something to do with it. He has a lot to do with not just movie production, television production, animation. Some of these cartoons and stuff that the kids like to watch, especially like on a Cartoon Network and other places like that. Man, Harvey Weinstein has his hands, his fingers in all kinds of things, man. And good for him, as far as making his money doing his thing, and as far as making a way for people to be able to make a living, but at what cost, man? Harvey Weinstein, I mean, these people, they cover up their own dirt, man. They are an entity, a league. They are an organism of their own. This underground, just underground wretchedness, man. They're an organism of their own. It's pretty bad. It's pretty sad, man.
Well, I believe this is what I believe, and maybe I'm just speculating a little bit. I believe that they won't try to challenge a Harvey Weinstein for the simple fact that they're afraid. They know if they were to challenge, say, a Harvey Weinstein type, there will be something called repercussions.
Absolutely.
Now, when they go after one of the brothers, they don't fear those repercussions, because they're not used to any repercussions coming their way, by the public or by other members of the media. When they say something about the brothers, they don't fear any repercussions at all. I mean, because they're used to them not being any. So, I mean, come on. That's why they're doing it, man. That's why they're doing it. They know if they get up there and get on freaking Weinstein, they know some repercussions might bounce back from that.
That's
why they're not going to do it.
Money and lost opportunities,
Exactly.
And like Leo Anthony said, smoke, but it's definitely lost opportunities, because these people, they still, people like Oprah and Gayle and all these other people, they don't want to end up being sidelined, blackballed, blacklisted. They care more about their reputation, their image than anything, even more than money, because they got enough money.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's fucked up, because Oprah most certainly would not want to go down in history with her name tarnished, officially tarnished, the way that they've done somebody like Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Exactly. The
Exactly.
things that they were complicit in, as far as Bill Cosby is concerned, man, is treacherous and treasonous, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they like soft targets, and they like targets where they know, nothing's firing back. It's easy to win a battle when someone's not fighting back. And I think they're going to learn the tough lesson that nowadays you're going to have to be a little more careful about which brothers you find yourself trying to, besmirch, because they found out rather quickly, and a lot of people did, besmirching someone of Kobe's caliber is probably not a good idea. Too many P's, too well respected. He's too well respected for that to happen. Because like I said, I mean, Lisa Leslie, man, I mean, she handled that, man, with such dignity, man, and tact and grace and, integrity, man. The way she just kind of shut that down, man, was like, I haven't seen anything like that. She didn't jump on that opportunity to go ahead and, pile on, because she could have, because, I mean, let's face it, Gayle opened the door for her to do so, but she didn't. She didn't, man.
It was deliberate. And the thing is that Lisa, she did. I mean, she was candid. She was like, now, I have been in clubs and in spots where there have been other brothers in that industry, in the NBA, who have tried to get her to, pull some females aside. So she did confess that, yeah, there are brothers out there who, are like that. But she just basically said that brother Kobe wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Hook me up, BB. Hook me up
Yeah.
with your girl CC. You know, she realized that happens, but it wasn't happening with this dude. Wasn't happening with this dude at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and as much as, and I know Verbal Assassin, you know, you're saying that the sisters always take up for the brothers. Now, you know that there is some truth to that, but you got to also admit, and I'm sure you've seen Verbal Assassin, how many sisters have come out talking about, you know, Kobe's left the bag for this blurry, you know, racially ambiguous woman. And there are even
Hmm.
women who still like sisters who are still throwing shade even after nothing. That case with that girl back, you know, how many years ago was a big nothing burger. They still cast aspersions upon this dude's name. Sisters, supposedly well-meaning sisters, doing that. You know, so yeah, six of one, half a dozen of the other. We do have women out there who are got the brothers back, but there's a large contingent as well that are hating on him for different reasons. You know, he's a colorist,
Yeah.
he's a sellout. You know, he gave the bag to the wrong woman and stuff like that, which is just all just, you know, treachery, man. It's treacherous. It's treacherous, man.
Yeah. Well, well, feel free to come on up and discuss it, verbal assassin. If that's what you want to do, come on up. Come on up. You are welcome here on the TPOT YouTube page. You already know. You know. Come on up. Come on up. Yeah, man. This is a freestyle night. So, you know, there is nothing to fear here. Yeah, there's nothing to fear.
So I heard you refer to your area as you said that she was a president and you called it Queen City?
Yeah, she's president of the Mecklenburg chapter. So she's beyond the Queen City because the Queen City is in Mecklenburg County, but she's in all the surrounding counties, I believe. I guess that would be North Lake, Matthews, Mint Hill, and a few others. So
Oh,
she's got a pretty good swath of this particular state. Yeah, she got a pretty good swath of it. So and
nice.
I was gonna ask her some things that, only she could possibly answer. Well, at least she should be the one to answer them. I mean, she's the person to ask. So I had the questions ready. I mean, when I do an
Yeah.
interview like that, I come loaded for bear. I want to know these things. I want to know what you're doing. I wanted to know about her safe zone initiative that she started in 2016. No, not safe zone. It's called harm free zone. I wanted to know about that. I wanted to know about her homelessness initiative. I wanted to know what her thoughts were on the infant mortality of Black babies being nearly 2 times in what they are for whites in this particular area, because this particular area is one of the highest in the nation for infant mortality. I wanted to know about that. I wanted to know about, the whole healthcare rap. I was ready for, man, listen, listen. And to be
You have
honest with
concerns
you,
about the harm free zone and that initiative?
um, I don't think it's working. Last year in Charlotte was 100 and I think 120 homicides last year in a city that's relatively small compared to other cities, because Charlotte is like what, the 15th largest city per capita.
Yeah,
That's quite a few people.
absolutely.
I wanted to know about that. I wanted to know about this police brutality thing, because they have this so-called program called the de-escalation program that they just started. And since they've started it, I believe 5 people have been shot by the police since this program has started. So, I wanted to see what she thought about this stuff, man, because I'm here. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Mecklenburg. So I see this stuff in the paper all the time. I see the stories, man, on the news every morning. I hear about it because I'm in the Queen City. All right. I live in the Queen City. I work in the Queen City. So the Queen City is part of her jurisdiction.
Right.
It's part of her
Right.
jurisdiction. So what you doing, madam? What you doing?
Yeah. So two things. The first thing is that, so it's interesting that it's referred to the Queen City because I'm from Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is also
Okay.
referred to as the Queen City. And the other thing too is that
Oh,
so
okay.
I when I did a little bit of research on some of the stuff that you're talking about now in preparation for if there was some more overflow talk from your conversation with her. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I find interesting is like some of these initiatives, like for example, this harm-free zone thing that this harm-free zone initiative that they're talking about. Um, because I do have some people from some of my church groups. Some of the people, like I have a lot of people that left our the series, a group of churches from Cincinnati, and they moved down to the Charlotte area, and Durham, and different places like that, and setting up churches and setting up ministries or whatnot. And one of the things that in some of my discussions that we've had is, we have to get away from. Now I know we do have to try to define. We have to try to define our terms, at least establish a mission statement of sorts, and try to have some kind of. So in other words, I think it's important for people to be clear about their aims and means. Like this is what we're trying. This is what we're trying to do, and this is how we're trying to do it. And so I looked at this harm-free zone. It's funny that you mentioned it because I have people that done work in the Spirit House. And so this
Mm-hmm.
harm-free zone and this concept of transformative justice, and I try to be positive, but I'm not really that much in the platitudes. This is one of the reasons why this is one of the reasons why I think you heard me on when we were on Obsidian's panel on Mixler a couple weeks ago. This is why I work directly with people. I try to work with people and impact them directly as individuals. I think that's, I think that if individuals can't be transformed, like if individuals can be transformed personally, make a change in their own personal life, and then they pay that forward. I'm not necessarily about platitudes because, like, just for example, transformative justice talks about we believe that grassroots leadership is directly and organically linked to community. We prioritize the leadership of people most impacted by systemic racism and oppression. Okay, so that sounds good. Okay, um, but what does that really mean? Because we all know that we are all, you know, victims on a large scale of racism slash white supremacy. And so the most, and in my opinion, one of the primary ways that we can overcome that is to be individuals who have our mind. I mean, and it's interesting because they talked about this a lot in the Black Manosphere. We have to, young men, particularly because I work mostly with young men, they need to get their mind right. They need to get their body right, their spirit right, they need to get their money right. Once, if I can, when I work with young men, if I can get those components in place first, and then consequently, then they yoke up with a woman who has her mind right, her body right, her spirit right, and her money right. These two people come together. Then they either have a family or they do volunteer work and coach and mentor, or they have children and they teach them those same principles. And then that's how the quote unquote community is built up. It always has to start from within with certain individuals. And even if, like a brother like you, brother, even if you only have one young man that you talk to, either online or in your community or in your family, even if it's one man that you can work towards transforming him, even just a little bit, you've done way more than a lot of these programs have done with their platitudes. Systemic analysis of
True.
oppression, evolving and inclusive critical analyses that does not place rank on hierarchy, does not place rank or hierarchy on oppression. What in the total fuck does that mean? I mean, it sounds good. Systemic analysis of oppression, evolving and inclusive and inclusive critical analysis that does not place rank or hierarchy on oppression. Now, I have a young man I work with. He's 16 years old. Me talking to him about that, what's that's going to mean to him? All he wants to know is,
Nothing.
I'm trying to get into college. I'm trying to keep my grades up. You know, my parents are at war with one another. I never get a chance to see my cousins or my sisters. You know, my sisters have moved away. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Am I going to graduate from high school? And if I do graduate, what college am I going to go to? Am I going to get to go to college? Am I going to get a scholarship? Or am I going to, is my pop going to co-sign for me a student loan? What am I going to major in? And then these young people are thinking about that, and also trying to figure out how they can get through day to day without getting shot or beat down by the cops, or, you know, involved in some fuckery with a female, or getting in some beef, you know, with some local guys from the school or from the hood. You know, oppression the oppression to the young men and women that I work with, in a large percentage of cases, there are no, it's not external. Most of the adversity that the young people that I work with and I talk to, it exists within the close knit circle of their own personal sphere of relativity, their sphere of relevance. You know, oppression to them, and to some ways, it's just, nigga, what I'm going to eat today. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's crazy that you.
Go ahead.
It's crazy that you mentioned Cincinnati, because if I remember correctly, that's where the model for here. I'm trying to look at it now. I think that's where they got that model from.
Absolutely.
To be honest, I'm trying to.
That's what I'm saying. Some of the people, some of my people that are in churches like Zion Global Ministries, Christ Emmanuel Christian Fellowship, Cornerstone, all these churches, we have a lot of people who decided for one reason or another that they wanted to leave the Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Northern Kentucky area and move. And we say, hey, if you really want to do that, hopefully you will get planted in the community or get planted in a church home when you're down there. Hey, would you mind taking this material and creating an alliance? Or before you go, let's start reaching out and sharing some of these concepts and sharing some of these ideas and try to make a difference in other communities. Because I've been in Cincinnati, I've always been a strong critic of, like, what are churches doing substantially in the community? And I'm not talking about, you know, bag lunches are good. I mean, that's great. Bag lunches, you know, some churches that have, and a lot of us don't even have scholarship anymore, but tutoring, bag lunches and stuff like that, all that stuff is good. But creating a plan using your resources, because a lot of these urban churches, Brother X, you know, and you probably know this, man.
I know. I was raised by church folk.
Right. But in
Can't you tell?
Yeah. God. But the other thing too that's unfortunate is that, like in the church that I used to attend, we had so many young, Black, high-powered, high-paid professionals. They would come in, because the church was in the inner city. But they lived out in the suburbs. They lived in the suburbs. They would come into the inner city in their fancy cars. They would get their praise on. They would get their feel good thing. We call it experiential Christianity. They would engage in their experiential Christianity, and then when it was all over, church service was over, then they would take their asses back out to the suburbs with their white friends or whatnot. When the church was planted right in the epicenter of the people that needed their help and assistance the most. And this is the kind of stuff I'm saying, like I college graduates come in, because that church was very good at drawing in young Black professionals straight out of college, or people who had just finished graduate school or whatnot. And, imagine having a bunch of 25, 26, 30-year-old kids coming out, making six figures, and you got a church where the average net worth or the average income of most of the parishioners, the average net income was, 70, 80, 90,000, $100,000 a year. And they weren't doing anything with that money. You know what I'm saying? They give it to the pastor. The pastor takes his money, does what he has to do, and he goes back out to the suburbs. When my thing was, we got 25 abandoned empty houses in a 3-block radius from the church. I know good and well that we have people that go to this church. They have engineering degrees. You got people that have their own business, the entrepreneurs, they're construction workers. You have people who are interior designers. Man, we should own the 10-block radius of where this church is.
Exactly. I agree.
And have low-income housing, build a daycare center. I'm not saying it hasn't been done. I know it's been done in certain areas. That doesn't necessarily have to be affiliated with the church. What you do is you find some people in the community who are the more responsible, who are really trying to make a difference in their life, and equip them to run a halfway house, to run a daycare center. Not just liquor stores and pony kegs and stuff like that. Halfway house, daycare centers, learning centers like the Sylvan Learning Centers and stuff like that. And then teach people, you can preach the gospel to them, and don't make it contingent upon them doing that. One of the issues that I run into is just like, we would love to help them, but what are they doing for this fellowship? It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what they're doing. Is that because if this church or this fellowship is supposed to be modeled after Christ, and Christ is a compassionate Messiah, you just do what you need to do without any stipulations. But and just like any other endeavor, man, there's always this, there's the quid pro quo. And then sometimes if you are not about platitudes, you just do for people just because. Just because is as good a reason as any to do for people, man.
I agree. I mean, I've often said, and many people know that I say this a lot, some of the worst places where you see the most poverty, the most pain, the most despair, the most crime, the most killing, you walk up and every 150 yards, what do you see? A church.
Absolutely.
Which leads me to believe, hey, I mean, what is going on in these areas? Because you got all these churches. So that means you have all these church folk around, but nothing's being done in this city about poverty. Nothing's being done in this city by these people about crime, about homelessness, it's kind of disheartening. But I mean, like I said, I was raised by church folks. I got pastors and bishops and Sunday school teachers. I was raised by those folks. Okay. Probably been in and out of more churches than the average person has when they was young. And even my grandfather, who was a bishop, told me, he used to say, son, you know what the biggest turnoff from Christianity is? I said, what? He said, Christians. And I never knew what he was talking about. He told me that when I was about 8 years old. He said the biggest turn off to Christianity is Christians. And as I start to grow, okay, and got myself away from the Christianity, I understand fully what he was talking about and what he meant, because a lot of the Christian, philosophy or ideology or theology, even if you want it, whatever you want to refer to it as, is counter. It's counter to what you see. It's like you would think, for example, like I just said, you go to these places where all this poverty and stuff is, like you spoke of, these abandoned buildings and all this kind of stuff. And you see so many churches, you can stand and make a full circle and literally within your eye line, you will see 4 or 5 churches, but in between those churches, you see a tent city where
Right.
people are literally living in tents. But you don't see any kind of church outreach to try to help these people, feed these people, give these people blankets. And I know one bishop that I know right now, and people from Charlotte probably knows him, Bishop Dunlap, who is he's a friend of mine. He's the only quote unquote church person that I know of. Okay, I'm just speaking for me in this area that is actually on the ground. He gets out there, he marches. They have a literacy program. They have a program to help homeless folks. They have when one of these foolish cops mess around and shoot somebody, the bishop, he right down there on the ground. He's at the police station. He's at the district attorney's office. He's at the county clerk's office. I mean, Bishop Dunlap is the real deal. All right. But there's, I don't know how many pastors and bishops in this city, man. And he's the only one I know of that actually does this stuff. Only him. The rest of them, they are hands off. You know, they too busy driving their Rolls Royces and Mercedes Benzes and BMWs, and their wives got on mink coats and diamonds this big in their rings while they speed past all these homeless people living in Tent City. So that stuff right there disenfranchises a lot of people and makes them think, hey, if this is what Christians are about, why would I want to be one of them? You know what? You understand what I'm saying?
You're right. You're right. Right. Yeah. It's one of the things that people have a difficulty doing, and it's not just with with so-called Christians. And I don't label myself a Christian, but I do. I have been a minister, and I have and I'm not a theologian, but I do consider myself to be somewhat of a biblical scholar, and also in Islam too, because I was in the Nation of Islam for a while. But one of the things that people
Yes,
don't
me too.
understand is that, well, oh, word. One of the things that people don't
Yeah, I
understand
was
is
a
that,
Muslim. I was a Muslim as well.
check it
So
out, dig that. Yeah, man. And the
yeah,
interesting thing is that one of the things that, so I'm going to put a pin in what I was going to say. So one of the things that where I learned how to be forceful, undeterred, courageous, and unashamed of who I was as a black man. Because like you, I was raised in the church, and I left. I left the church because I wasn't getting anything out of it. And then I spent like 4 or 5 years studying with some brothers and studying in the Nation of Islam until I met this girl who was a Christian, and she's like, well, come back, blah, 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 blah. We could use your gifts and your talents. I'm like, okay. So I started back in ministry and stuff like that. But I learned how to, the place where I learned how to be, I said earlier about being clear about your aims and means. I learned how to be clear about my aims and means. I learned how to speak loudly and clearly without fear. I learned how to be uh, unashamed in my convictions, because these are things that I did not learn when I was in my early years, as a young Christian, under the tutelage of my father and my mother, and a lot of the other ministers in my family. I learned how to be unashamedly black when I was part of the nation, man. They teach you that.
yep,
And the thing is
yep,
that they don't necessarily teach that in contemporary Christian churches without some qualification. Like, I'm a Christian, I just happen to be black. Whereas,
mhm,
no, I'm black and I just happen to espouse this particular faith. So
yep,
because no matter what, and this is the thing, what people don't get is that there are other Christians out there who don't give a damn whether or not you're a Christian. All they see is the
mhm,
color of your skin, because I go head to head all the time. Like I said before, like I spend time in other spaces on the internet, and on YouTube spaces in the community, engaging with white folks, people of faith, Christians, Catholics, Armenians, um, um, Presbyterians, full gospel and all that stuff. And it's interesting. How is it that it's interesting? And I have these debates all the time. It's like, how is it that this man, the Christ, the quote unquote Son of the Living God, how is it that we we all are supposed to agree that he died for every single human being on the face of the earth? But you got, and he's supposed to be all of our savior, but you got beef with me because of the color of my skin. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to spend the entire time talking about this, but this human behavior is extremely fascinating to me. This is why, like,
Absolutely.
the behaviors of Oprah and Gayle and, these broads that are on that show, The Talk or The View,
Hmm.
or some of these, their behaviors are fascinating. And when it's a trope, I think, when people say self-hate, but I think that at some point,
Yeah.
man, you know, you might have to have a stream about that, because one of the things that, because I've been doing a lot of writing, what are some of the real manifestations of self-hate? Like, why would a woman like the woman that you spoke about before, Lonnie Love, why would
Hmm.
what would what would propel her to get on national television, in the medium under which she has been, which she has the privilege and the blessing of being a part of? What would propel her to get up on national television and say that all black men are XYZ
Hmm.
and problematic?
Hmm.
Like, what?
All of us.
Right.
All of us.
What would be the, now, because I know I say things about women in general. In general, women tend to struggle in the realm of values and morals and principles and stuff like that. But that's not all women. That are all women. I think that there are women who have who have managed, by whatever means, to tamp down that propensity for
Hmm.
those sort of non-virtues. But this chick got on TV and said all.
Yep.
So this is why I talk about dealing with the individual. Like, there's something awry in the heart and mind of that individual. Not only because of what she said, but the platform that she was on when she said it. Like a complete and
Hmm.
total breakdown of a protocol of judgment, of self awareness and understanding, and of cause and effect. Like, it's simple, brother. It's just like, because you've probably done it too. You've been typing something, a text message and an email, and you looked at it and you said, "Nah, I don't think I need to send this."
Yeah, I don't want to say that.
Well, I know. I mean, there have been
Well,
times when I'm like about to hit enter and like, all right, so let me think about this.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
that this is going
But
to, this is going to certain
when
proof.
you talk,
Go ahead, bro.
yeah, when you talking about but when you, not to interrupt you, but I mean, when you talking about the celebrity Lonnie Love type, right? Because we often hear this, this term self-hate, you hate yourself, and all that kind of stuff. We hear that stuff a lot. And usually you hear it from people who are doing what? People who are giving criticisms to black people.
Yeah.
So if a person tends to know, because they're given a definition to it, right? They're looking at what you say, they're looking at how you act or whatever. They're saying, well, you're a self-hater. That means they have a certain definition of what a self-hater is, right? Because they're saying it, you know? So when you get a Lonnie Love type, people will say that she's a self hater, she
Right.
hates herself. But I don't think that. What I think is, I think she hates a certain segment of the black male population. She doesn't hate herself. I think she hates a part of a part of the black male population she has a disdain for. Because if you come out and you say, well, all black men are X, Y, and Z, what that's saying is you have a view of black men either from experience or black men that that you grew up around, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, your whoever, because you said all. So I mean, you include all of us, right?
Right.
You're
Right.
including all of us. So when we talk about the self-hate factor, I don't even think it's so much that she hates herself. I think she hates how she's been treated by certain black men. She hates how black men maybe her luck wasn't that great with black men, because see, she was the type of person who doubled down on that, because another one of those females on that panel said, hey, look, that's just men in general. She gave her an out, and she said, no, no, no. She said it's black men. And then of course she went right to slavery. Because you got to jump there when you get called on
Word.
something. she was
Word.
like she was like, oh, well, because of slavery and all this kind of stuff, which makes no daggone sense, because between 1930 and 1965, I believe, black folks was married at a rate of 80%, which was higher than anybody else, and that was post slavery. So she need to read a couple books. But anyway, she jumped right to slavery, because see, once you throw in that slavery thing, that kind of shuts everybody up. That gives you the right to say what you're saying, because see, you're basing it on slavery, and no one wants to be caught freaking trying to, counter your narrative on slavery. So she was able to work that in. And what makes it so bad for her saying that is that, see, she is with a white man. All right. She's not even with a black man to be saying that about. She didn't start off with, my experience with black men is X, Y, and Z. No, she just said, hey, all of you black ass men, ain't none of y'all worth a crap. And the reason why y'all ain't worth a crap has something to do with slavery.
Yeah,
I
man.
think a lot of us, I think a lot of us just hate our history. I think we get this whole self-hate thing all wrong, man. I think a lot of us hate our history,
Hmm.
and we hate that we can't connect ourselves to a different history. If you can understand what I'm saying, I
Yeah, I
think
think I
that's
do.
where some of the so-called hate lies. We hate our history. So the one of the best things to do for a lot of us is to make it use that history as a crutch, as an excuse, and as a talking point to say, this is why this is so bad. This is why that is so bad. This is why black men are so bad. Oh, it's because of slavery. This is why black people are doing drugs. Oh, it's because of slavery. This is why black men have a bunch of baby mamas. Oh, because of slavery. If you can fall back on that slavery, if you can fall back on that, you can actually use that as a reason for everything. I mean, I've heard it used for everything, especially up here. I mean,
Right.
slavery is the reason for everything. If you stump your toe going out the door, oh, it's because of what happened to us in slavery. We used to stump our toes, when we was on the plantation. If you let a lot of people tell it. So I think there's more to it than that. And I think when she was saying that, she was basically talking about all of the black men that she has dealt with. She just put all.
I agree. And I will add on to what you're saying because I totally agree. People hating their history. And this, and I think that, because you're a very astute man, I think that if you observe some of the behaviors of some of our more vocal and vociferous YouTubers who are beefing or who have gotten themselves caught up in being accused of doing this or that in their past. One of the things that I think that is a reason for that, they hate their history, and I think what it is that people do not know how to forgive themselves for for the things that they've done in the past, like whether they were the victim or the victimizer, because that's typically what happens. Sometimes we're victims and sometimes we're the victimizer, and
Yep.
whether we are either one of the two, whatever happened during that particular time in our life, it has an impact on us. And so
Hmm.
for me, I have been more of I mean, just to be quite honest, I have been more of a victimizer than I have been a victim. I have hurt people, like I told you guys, on Obsidian's panel, my parents paid a lot of money and, paying neighbors and kids, and especially the white folks that I used to, because that's where usually I took out my aggression on, was the white people in the communities and whatnot. And they paid a lot of people's hospital bills, and with getting sued because some white boy or some white girl, just being real with you, or some white girl stepped to me wrong and got slapped up, and then mom and dad had to do this or whatever. And so I mean, it's just by the grace of God, or whatever you want to call it, divine intervention, that I'm even here to even talk to you today. But I took a long look in my life, and this is what I talk to people about all the time, Brother X. It's not what you have done in your past. Because people have this thing about wanting to be judged. You can't judge me, only God can judge me. Well, oh no, that's not wrong. I mean, that's not right. Whether we want to believe it or accept it or not, we are going to be judged. There's somebody who they're not gonna like what we have. They're not gonna like what we do today. They're not gonna like what we say today. They're not gonna forgive us for what we did in the past. There are people that are going to take a look at us and size us up and make a determination and draw conclusions about what type of person that they think we were, and the type of person that they think that we are today, and they are going to engage with us based on those parameters. There's absolutely
Hmm.
nothing that we can say or do about it. However, what we can do is we can say, you know what? Hey, I did slap a bitch up back in the day and caught a case. Yes, I did. I was the getaway driver in a drive-by or whatnot. I paid my dues. And so now the next thing that we can do is say, I know exactly what I've done wrong, and I'm
Exactly.
going to forgive myself. If I made my amends, if I paid my restitution, if I did my time, one of the most important things, Brother X, that people can do is they can take a look at what they said and say, I confess, I know that what I did, that was some grimy, fucked up, whack shit. I apologized. I did what I needed to do. I paid my fine. I did my penance or whatnot. And now I'm going to give myself permission to live my best life moving forward. I'm hella high water.
Hmm.
Don't give a fuck what nobody say. The problem, Brother X, is that a lot of people are unable to do that. This is why you see so many
Yep.
grown people on YouTube. That it's like, what's that brother so mad about? Like, what is that sister so mad about? Like, why has she adopted those particular talking points? Why has this brother adopted this particular set of talking points? If you isolate these people, because I've done it, and you start talking to them about things that either went right or wrong, left, sideways, upside, backwards, upside down, you will find that there's something in their past that
Hmm.
either somebody didn't let them off the hook for, or they refuse to let themselves off the hook for. And just to be quite honest, because I don't really want to name drop, but it's a situation just like the other day when Obsidian was on the panel with the Renaissance and Rob Perkins and the whole Cynthia G or whatnot. It's like there's two sides to that. You got somebody who needs to let it go. Well, actually, you have a group of people who just need to. You got a group of people who need to say, are we good now? This is one of the most
Hmm.
difficult things for brothers to do. Like in my personal counseling and coaching and mentoring, I have to look at some of these young brothers in the face and say, it may not seem like it today, because a lot of people are they're either stuck in today or they're stuck in the past. And I say it may not feel like it may not seem like it today, but brother, let me walk with you and let me show you that tomorrow can be better. Don't give a fuck what your granddaddy did to you. You know, don't give a fuck what your mama said or whatever. Today may seem like it's fucked up. So I would advise you to rely on yourself, let yourself off the hook, and be committed to being better. And it may not be heaven tomorrow, but tomorrow could be better. But some people just need to let themselves off the hook. And I agree with what you said. Lonnie Love, she probably did. She probably either was a victim or a volunteer of being pumped and dumped. You know,
Mhm.
she may have defrauded. Because I don't. I'm just speculating based on what I know from working with people. There's no telling who did what to her or what she did to someone else. And you have those
Yeah.
tapes and those recordings going in your mind or whatnot. And some people just cannot let it go. Because my
Nope.
thing is,
They
sure,
hate their
here's the
history,
right
man.
bag.
They hate their own history.
That's right. That's right. You're exactly right.
They hate their history, man. And see, what you're saying is spot on, man. You're preaching right now. But see, with that, brother P, that what would we have to do? We would have to be honest with ourselves, man.
Right.
And a lot of us are afraid to do that also. We're afraid to be totally honest with ourselves, and we definitely afraid to be totally honest with others. Because see, if you're gonna look at these things, look in your past and say, hey, this was wrong, what happened to me, or this is wrong, what I made happen to someone else, that's gonna be you being totally honest, man. And I think with a lot of us, and myself included, because I'm black too, I
Right.
think with a lot of us, we are afraid of that total honesty, because total honesty hurts, especially when you're talking about your history. You
Yes.
know, we often like to tell a story, you know, from the best narrative. We need to stand on the best narrative so we don't look too bad for what we did. And we also, at times, not all the time, but at times, we try to make it so others that we are concerned with don't look too bad as well.
Right.
Okay. Because
Right.
see, a lot of us as black people, man, our truths are very ugly.
Very.
We got some ugly truths, man.
Right.
Our closets don't just got bones in them. Boy, they got demons, they got monsters, they got the boogeyman, they got crevices, cracks, and rats with no faces. And I mean, it's all kinds of, don't just bones fall out of that closet. Boy, all kinds of mess fall out of there. The
Absolutely.
bones the bones are the light. That's light compared to that other stuff that fall out of there behind them. And I
Well,
think
right.
that we are so concerned with those ugly truths, man.
Yeah.
Because the truth is ugly for a lot of us. A lot of us, boy, that truth is an ugly thing. And boy, we just do not want to look at it. We want it to stay in the closet forever. A
Yeah.
lot of us, we are going to take those ugly truths right on to the casket. Yeah, we're taking them right on to the casket, man.
Yeah.
That's
But
just the unfortunate truth.
that is the unfortunate truth. And what you say about the truth. And the thing is that there's like, because you understand, we always use these tropes and these stuff and these things like the truth will set you free. And sometimes, and I tasked like one of my young men, my young brother, man, got into a fight with his dad. That's why I had to lead a panel last week, man. Young brother got into a fight with his dad, put a knot on his dad's head, called him a sucker and a lame.
Mm.
His dad put him out. So I had to go, pick him up from the juvenile detention center, man, and take him in for a couple of days. But, talking about the truth. And the thing is that brother X is that this young man, he's mad at his father. I mean, he's upset with his dad. I mean, he's really pissed off about he's pissed off about something. Now, like I'm trying to be ginger around it because I don't know what it is. But as you can imagine, it could be anything. He could have played with the boy, could have did something to him. There's no telling. And so my thing is that so I direct him to the real professionals to try to figure. We need to help this young man figure out. Did this young man be able to inwardly accept and address whatever it is that's happening that's making him and his father fight all the time, and then give him a path to escape, how he's allowing that whatever's happened to oppress him. So back to what I'm saying about the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free, and that's a trope that we use, but the truth sets us free for some other reasons. And it's like I said before, one of the things that the truth will set you free from is guilt and shame. Not just like sometimes we consider the truth to be like knowledge. Oh, I see the light now. Like I know what happened to me. Like, yeah, that's what happened. So I got memories that are flooding in my mind now, and I see what really happened to me. Mama did this, daddy did that, uncle did that, the white man this and did that. That is one type of truth. But the other type of truth that will set us free is the truth is that we've been able to accept and acknowledge where we've been, what we've done, or whatnot, and then the freedom. So that's the truth, acknowledging where we are and where we've been. But the freedom is I am no longer going to be made to feel bad about this shit. I'm no longer going to be, I'm not going to be walking around with my head held down. I'm not going to be allowing niggas to call me a sucker because whatnot. I'm not going to be triggered. And this is the other thing too about all this shit that they talk about nowadays about microaggressions and all this stuff. Man, that's bullshit. What it is that people are afraid to take a look in the mirror and be real about what I see. I used to tell people all the time, man, when I was married, I used to lie to my wife about dumb shit. Brother Xavier, man, lie about what color socks I got on. What color socks you got on today? I got on one green sock and one blue sock. Knowing good and well there was no
unnecessary lies.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. What on earth would you have to lie about some shit like that for? And I've given, talks to young men about it's certain things that you just don't need to do. And so I work with this young group called Awanas. It's called a workman not be ashamed. And so one of the things that I tell these, and it's very unorthodox, I talk to these young boys and I say, what is the number one rule of the pimp game? And, some of them know, some of them that they might guess or whatnot. The number one rule of the pimp game is always tell the truth. That's the number that is the number one from what I've learned. I'm sure that other people may have some other iterations of that, but the number one rule of the pimp game is to always tell the truth to others and be real with yourself. And the thing is that the worst sort of deception, Brother X, is self-deception. That is one of the worst forms of deception. The worst forms of delusion is self-delusion. And there are so many people who either have too high of an estimation of themselves or they have too low of an estimation of themselves.
I agree.
And humility, and I talk to young men about humility. Humility, when you're a humble person, that doesn't, sometimes people think that you being humble, that means that you be like, oh, I can't believe you said that. I'm not all that. Humility is having the correct and right estimation of yourself. Mm-hmm. So if Brother X say, hey, I know the Prophet of Thought series is on point. I work hard for this shit. Actually, that is a form of humility because that is the right estimation of yourself. Now, if you were to say, I'm killing it and ain't nobody else on YouTube fucking with me like that, now that would not be humility. Even if it's true. I mean, even if it's true, well, no, not even if it's true. Even if you want it to be true, because you don't know if it's true. See, the truth is more about how we see ourselves than how we see others. That's the truth that sets us free. The truth does not set my truth does not set you free. My truth will set me free. And if I have a right proper understanding and estimation of myself, then I can relate to you in your right and proper estimation of yourself. And then this is how we build. So to answer Cynthia G's question about what Black men can and cannot do to fight racism, white supremacy, and to keep us from getting bent over and to keep us from being dominated, one of the first things that it takes is for all of us, each individual Black man, to take a look at ourselves and put our own selves in the proper perspective, in the proper context. And if that proper perspective and context means that we have work to do, then we do that work.
Do you think that that's a problem with many of us, that instead of trying to live our truth, we're trying to live a truth that others have sort of laid on us or shrouded us with? They got a particular truth that they see as truth, and we try to live up to that truth as opposed to living up to the truth that, like you said, we set for ourselves.
Right. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. Like one example of that is, and I don't have any issue. I don't have an issue in any form or fashion with this group of brothers, but take like the SYSBM brothers. Like, what I would like to hear more of those brothers say is that I'm looking for a wife. I don't have. I'm not confident that the type of wife that I want is present on the continental U.S. So I'm going to explore my options elsewhere. I'm not saying that there are not brothers who feel that way, but what I'm saying is that I don't see a lot of brothers who are actually saying that. Because the thing is that there's nothing wrong with wanting a wife. There's nothing wrong with actually wanting to have a wife. But why don't they? Why they're not saying that? You know what I'm saying? Why not saying that? Because the impression that it leaves is that, and this is one of the reasons why people like Taz, and I fuck with Taz. This is one of the reasons why people like Taz can go unchallenged when he says, y'all just trying to go here and there and XYZ to get prostitutes and underage girls. I do not believe that is true. I do not believe that these brothers are going SYSBM so that they can go here and there to get prostitutes and underage girls. I do not believe that is the case. And I do not believe that is entirely the case. But I don't see a case for I don't see a case for the other side. Because if you really want a wife like that, then say, I want a wife. Be like what Alan Roger Curry say. Be mode one about it. Yeah, that's right, nigga. Yeah, I am going to South America to find me a fucking wife. Fuck you if you think I'm trying to get prostitutes and underage pussy. I want a wife. I want a family. Make that declaration. Walk and live in that truth, and then you have not to be ashamed. There's nothing to be ashamed of.
Exactly.
So, but I think that there's sometimes a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, well, it goes back to, with many of us, we don't want to be judged. We got this thing where, I don't want to be judged, but what people don't understand is this. We get judged all the time. We judge all the time. So the whole don't judge me piece is pretty mute, because the same person who says don't judge me done probably made 55 judgments this day alone that they were saying that. So it's like, we all judge, man. And judging itself is a subjective. When you think about it, it's a subjective term, because not everybody judges the same or on the same merits. So we gotta stop. We gotta stop with that nonsense. We gotta stop with all of it, man. Because let's be honest, man. Some of the stuff, especially some of the stuff that we hear, man, on media, a lot of it is nonsense. I look back at some of my old stuff that I did 4 and 5 years ago, and I look at it and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking when I said that? what the hell was I thinking when I did that? That's nonsense.
Right.
I mean, so I mean, we got to be honest, man. I mean, some of this stuff is just nonsense, man. It really is. Some of it really is. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good stuff on media. There's a lot of decent stuff. There's decent brothers telling decent stories and giving decent advice and doing decent things for other folks. But man, there's a lot of nonsense here. There is. Shoot, somebody may be looking at this right now and be like, you know what, X, your joint is nonsense. And hey, and in their mind, hey, maybe it is nonsense in their mind. I don't know. In their mind, it's nonsense. And I can't be mad at them because they think that. Everybody has a right to think what they want to think. I mean, people talk about speech police and dick police and all that kind of stuff. Man, there's a lot of thought police around as well. Okay,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of thought police on patrol full time. They don't want you to think a certain way. Forget the things you say or, that kind of stuff or how you live your life. They don't even want you to have a certain thought pattern, and you see a lot of it on media, man. You see a lot of it. And to be honest with you, I've said this many, many times, and I know people kind of get upset with me when I say this kind of stuff, but I mean, I think a lot of us, man, we take this media crap way too seriously, man. I think a lot of us, man, we take it way too seriously. That's me making a judgment.
Right.
That a lot of us, we take this stuff way too seriously because, man, I see this platform, this YouTube stuff, man. I see it as somewhere where we can exchange ideas and exchange ideologies. I don't really expect anyone's life to be changed by the things I say when I come up on here. Now, if it does, that's fantastic.
Right.
That's great. But I don't go into it thinking, well, I'm going to get on here and change some lives today. No, because that would be me. That would be me putting myself out there as this life changer, all by way of this here computer screen. I mean, if someone's life gets changed from the few things that I say, that's great. That's magnificent. All for it. Okay. If I can change one mind, I'm good with that. I consider this whole thing a success. But if I don't, that's okay too. That's okay too. You know why? Because I don't look for answers on the internet. I don't come to the internet for answers, man. I don't come to the internet like it's some sensei and it's gonna be the salvation of all my problems that I have in my life. That's ridiculous. I just don't believe that that's true. And I think a lot of people do see it as that. I think a lot of people look at the internet and they say, hey, look, this, I'm going to get these answers from this. I'm going to gain this from this. This is going to send me into this greater existence. Now, don't get me wrong. If the internet does that for you, that's great. But you also have to respect the fact that it doesn't do that for me.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't do that for me. And a lot of people, what they get out of the internet, they expect others to get out of it too. Okay. Which in a sense is a judgment. That's a judgment because you're saying, well, I get on here and I learn all this stuff and I know all this stuff. And you look at it as just, just images on your laptop, which is my right to do, just like it's your right to get on here and try to learn something, use YouTube as a classroom when you hear spools up here talking, and if you get something out of it, great. But when I do this stuff, man, to be honest with you, man, I don't really go into it as that, man. I go into this stuff, man, to provide a bit of entertainment. I mean, maybe chop it up with a few brothers, and that's it. Because see, when I close this laptop, everybody that I talk to goes away. That's it. I'm on here maybe 2-3 hours a night. Guess what? There's 21 more hours in that day that I have to live. So I mean, I can't base everything I do off of, what I got going on the internet, man. And a lot of people do, and that's fine. But I believe that that's not the bulk of us. I don't think that most of us, this is our job. I mean, some people, this is their job. Okay, this is their job. This is what they do for a living. This is how they make their money. This is their full-time gig. I get it. I'm not one of those people. So maybe I don't take it as serious as the next brother does, because see, this isn't my lifeblood. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this isn't my lifeblood. So I don't take it as serious as, say, a brother who, this is how he make his money. This is how he pay his car note. This is how he pay his rent. This is how he pay his whatever. He don't have no choice. He has to take this seriously. I don't. I don't. I don't have to. I mean, I wish I could. I wish this was a full-time job. I could sit up here and make videos all day and make all this money and don't have. I wish, yeah, that's probably a pretty good gig, but I don't have that luxury. I don't. So when you don't have that luxury, you find yourself not taking it as serious as other people who do. And I think that people don't understand that aspect of it. Okay, they don't understand that. But you got to think, man, a lot of us, man, we want somewhere to belong. Okay. And a lot of us, we like to live vicariously through others. We like living vicariously through others. We like to hear people talk about things that we ourselves cannot say, can't articulate, or don't have the guts to say.
Absolutely.
And we find ourselves attracted to those people who are like-minded in a sense, because, they get up here and they talk and they say a lot of things that we wish we could say. They say a lot of things we wish we could say. They say a lot of things that we think. They say a lot of things that, you said, 5 years ago. You expressing your situation, your experiences, and many of us have had those similar experiences. So we find ourselves attracted to these people. And I think the internet has become an avenue where people can gather and feel like they belong. Why? Because a lot of us never felt that before, especially those of us who come from these old messed up backgrounds and these messed up histories, and these families that wasn't really families at all, and abuse and pain and poverty and all that kind of stuff. So you come here, man, and it's you get to experience things, you get to experience feelings, and you get to experience camaraderie and similarity. You get to experience all of that stuff, man. And to a lot of people, I think it's something that they never experienced. So they gravitate towards it, man. And it becomes their life, man. It becomes, a lot of us, it becomes their life. And a lot of people won't admit that. You think they'll admit that this is their life, even though every damn live stream you go on, you see them in the chat room, no
Right.
matter what time of day it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. These people have enough time to be in everybody chat, to be on everybody live stream. I mean, that's a person that has a lot of time on their hands, and they're using that time to do what? Be here.
Be here.
Be
And
here.
that also speaks to, I mean, and without knowing fully what their lives look like, it also speaks to the fact that people do need community. So to a lot of people that come on YouTube, the Prophet of Thought, Game Changer, Kevin Samuels, Taz Exclusives, and some of these other people, your platforms is their community. Your platform is their family. And and they admire the way the Prophet of Thought, expresses himself, because they
Mhm.
we don't know whether or not some people have contact with anybody at all in real life. There's a lot of isolation that takes place. Now social media has contributed to some of that self-imposed isolation, which is true. But then there's a other environmental. There are some people whose life, you know, they just don't. Maybe they relocated, or maybe they've just gotten. Maybe they're no longer in places where their friends or their families are anymore. There are a lot of people who live their lives. They go to work, they come home, or they're infirmed. We have a lot of people that are in these spaces that are disabled, they're on disability, they're
Mhm.
infirmed. I mean, we would probably be shocked how many people are in our chat and on your chat box right now that are sitting in a wheelchair. That the only way they get from A to B is when the guy in the bus comes, knocks on the door, let them in. The caretaker comes in, roll them down to the bus, lifts them up on a lift, and take them to where they got to go, and then they come back. We don't know the lot that other people's have in their life. And the other thing too is
Mhm.
something that you said is about you don't necessarily, expected this platform to change someone's life, but it does, brother Xavier, because you're the prophet of thought. And so if what
Mhm.
you do is you're creating a space where people can come and speak, and it informs the way people, because they're drawn to your light, and they see that you are free to tell the truth. We were just talking about freedom just a little bit
Mhm.
ago. That's freedom to be able to say. And some people admire that, because again, like I said, some people probably have no one to talk to. It's like, I've got these thoughts and ideas in my head, and I have no one to express it to, no one to share it to. They come here, they hear what Brother Xavier has to say, they hear what Obsidian has to say, they hear what Concrete Rose or whatever, whomever has to say or whatnot, and then then it
Mhm.
informs their thinking. So it's like the thought process is like, as a man thinketh, so is he. So I mean, so I'll push back on that. What you present
Mhm.
impacts how people think. And if a person gets things in their mind and they start to think about some things, and they start to think differently about their lives, they start thinking differently about the world, then if they reckon themselves in a truthful manner, then they may be able to interface with the world in a more truthful manner. And then there you go, brother X, making a damn difference. Ain't that a bitch? You have made a difference, man.
Yep. Well, I always say, I used to have a saying a while back. I used to say, if I could keep one brother out of jail,
Right?
if I can keep one 13-year-old girl from getting pregnant, if I can keep one dude from being dead before he was 21, if I could get one brother to read a book, if I could get one brother to not knock some girl up and ruin his life,
All
I
right.
said one, just
One.
one.
Yeah.
All of this is a success. All the equipment I bought and the computers and the mix boards and the screw, it's all worth it. It's a success with that one person, and every person after that makes it more of a success. That used to be my call to arms back then. The only thing that has changed about it now is that that's not my mission.
Right. Right.
If that happens, fine, but it's not my mission anymore. And the reason why it's not my mission anymore, because I know every person is different. I know everything I say can be interpreted a different way, because everything I say is subjective, just like everything I hear is subjective. So that is not my main mission. To be honest with you, I ask myself a lot of times, why do I even do this stuff? Like, why do I do it? Am I just as bad as the people who watch? Um, do I get a high out of flipping it on and turning my mic and my camera on and knowing that people will watch me? I mean, because I believe that the people who get up here and make content and do live streams, we're not that different from the people who watch. The people who watch, some people watch to be enlightened, some people watch to be entertained, some people watch to laugh, some people watch to cry, some people watch to vent, some people watch to learn. And I think that when we get up here, I think a lot of us do the same thing. We get up here to be enlightened. We get up here to be entertained. We get up here to laugh. We get up here to cry. We get up here to vent. So there's not that much space between the people who actually stream, make videos, talk to folks. There's not much of a valley between us and the people who watch us, man. It's not much at all. Because
I
I
agree.
think both of us do what we do for similar reasons. I think the reasons we get up here and get on this mic and these cameras aren't that much different than why people sit and watch us and turn on their computer and grab their popcorn and they bottle of Coca-Cola and watch. I don't think there's too many differences. It's just that we, the people who create content, we just have the nerve to get up here and do it. That's it. We got the nerve to get up here, run our old mouths and say all kinds of things and have debates and talk to folks and cuss folks out. And, we have the nerve to do it. That's the only thing that separates us from the people who watch us. That's it. Because I'm just a regular person, man. I ain't nobody. I ain't no star. I'm none of that. I'm just a regular old person, man. I'm a power mechanic. That's what I am. I ain't no internet star. Okay. I'm a power mechanic. I work on power equipment. That's what I do. This ain't what I do. This is one of the things that I do, because if somebody came in here and threw this damn computer out the window right now, guess what? I would still be a power mechanic. I just wouldn't be a YouTuber for a while. That's it. I just wouldn't be a YouTuber for a while. That's the long and short of that. And that's kind of how I describe myself, because like I said, I try not to take this stuff too seriously because I see what other brothers go through. I see what happens, and make no mistake, I'm very wary of this whole platform because I know that these folks can kill this channel whenever they want. Right. They could push that button and it's all over. All right. So if I only rely on this for my livelihood, that's me putting my eggs in one basket. Because guess what? Like that, it can be gone. Now what? So, I'll never put this in a place where, I consider this, like one of my mainstays. And now don't get me wrong. I make a few bucks off of it, nothing to write home about. But really, I could never consider this as my main thing. I would love to sit up here and make all this money. I would. I ain't gonna sit up here and say I wouldn't. That'd be a lie. Shoot, all I gotta do is open my laptop and make me some money. Never have to leave home, and I could put on these fancy ties and nice shirts, and just sit up here and talk to y'all good folks and makes all this money. What beats that? What beats it? But like I say again, I don't have that luxury, and I'm not mad at people who do. I'm not at all. More power to them, boy, because they done figured out a way to make some cash, boy, and it's pretty easy. Okay, it's pretty easy. So it is what it is. But I like doing it because, see, I did this stuff even when there was no money involved. All right. I remember when I had a little tiny camera, a little cheap camera that my wife had bought me for a present. And I used to, take little videos and put a little music behind them and, upload them and all that kind of stuff. This platform has grown from that. I went from that to doing radio to what I do now. So, I've seen many different facets of the whole media thing, if you will. I've seen many different facets of it. So, if I can make a few coins off of it, absolutely, I'm going to do that. Yeah. But I never lose sight. Of what this really is, because I'm not in control of this. Okay. Right. As a power mechanic, I'm in control because I work for myself. I don't work for no power mechanic company. I work for X. Okay. So I actually have control over the money that I make. I have control over what I can do. With this, I don't have no control. Yeah, I got control of my platform. I could put all these fancy backgrounds behind, see the thunder and lightning and all this kind of nonsense. But guess what? Then people can push that button tonight and it's gone. Just like that. And guess what? Whatever money I was making on it, that's gone too. Yeah, all that's gone. So I never lose sight of that, because I've seen people who get on here and you know they make a good living. They make good money on here. And guess what? You go to look at some of their stuff, and when you hit that button, you don't see nothing but an empty page. This page has been taken down because it has okay. They could turn the lights off in it. They could turn the lights off any time.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I can't, I can't put everything on that, man, when someone else has control over it, man. That's ridiculous. I can't do that.
Brother X, how long you been on YouTube? So a couple questions. First of all, this channel, it says that it's been online for about 5 years. Have you ever had any other channels, or have you ever had a channel taken down or anything like that? But you just been going here straight 5 years on this one?
Oh, see, now I feel like I'm being interviewed now. Well, I started doing the YouTube in 2015. Cause see, I was never a YouTuber, believe it or not. I was never really a YouTuber. I was actually in radio first. I was on a internet radio station first. I used to work for Nubia Hood Radio. That's what I was doing first. But I did the same thing that I do now. I mean, I interviewed people. We pretty much talked about the same kind of subjects. Police brutality, racism, et cetera, et cetera. We did the same thing, and it was called the Proper Thought Series, that radio show. What got me into YouTube is that I used to manage a lot of the radio stations' media. I used to manage their YouTube page, their YouNow page, their Twitter, and because prior to that, I had put a few things on YouTube, but believe it or not, it was on my wife's YouTube page. My wife had a YouTube page before I did. And I used to make these cheesy little videos, and I used to, upload them on my wife's page, and she would have them on her page. But once I started working for the radio station, I got a bit of a following. People like the voice. They like how, the things we talked about. So I said, what the hell? I'm going to go ahead and start my own YouTube page. And that's kind of, where it all came from. I mean, I've only been on YouTube, like you said, for like 5 years. All right. It hasn't even been a total 5 years yet, because I think I started in like November of 2015 or December or something like that. I don't even remember. So it hasn't even been a full 5 years. And, it turned into what you see now. I mean, I was never a YouTuber. I mean, I didn't start live streaming. Till I think 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think because I used to make videos, because as time got better, I got better equipment, better cameras, better computers, start learning how to do a little graphic work and making GIFs and all that kind of stuff. So what I was doing, I was just making pre-recorded videos and uploading them. That's what I used to do. The live stream thing is only a few years old. I've only been doing that for a few years. And believe it or not, my wife convinced me to do that. She was like, "Oh, you should get up there and show yourself. You'll have more people. You get up there and show yourself. So that's how that came about. I never used to show myself, man. I'd upload videos, and talk about certain things, and that was it. The whole live streaming, showing my face thing, man, that's only a few years in the making, man. And I still think I can get better at it and do better stuff. And, if you look at my platform over the course of the last 5 years, you'll see how it's evolved, how it's changed. Every year or so, I add a new element. I start doing different types of shows. I start doing different types of things. I add different little touches to it, especially around this time of year, because my work season slows down. Because, I'm a power mechanic, so I work on a lot of power equipment, and the season slows down this time of year between, say, November to like February. Things are really slow for me. So I have a lot of time to kind of, mess around and do this kind of stuff. If you look in those summer months, though, you look through like, say, March all the way up to, say, September, you don't see much action because I don't have time. Too busy working. I'm sun up and sun down during that time. You can actually see, you're like, God, he don't have nothing in here for the summer. Yeah, because those are my sun up to sundown days.
Word. I can
But
dig it.
now I have the time. I have the time, when it get a little wintry, I have the time. But this is about to be over soon, because in the next 2 weeks or so, I'll be right back at it. And things are gonna slow down tremendously. I mean, they are. I mean, I have this debate thing going on now that seems to be going pretty good. So
Oh, those are dope, man. Those are
I'm a
fire. Those debates are fire, bro.
yeah, I'm gonna ride those out. That's a new element that I started at the end of the year. I said, well, I'm gonna try this out. Let me see what happens. And it took off. So, I'm gonna continue. Shoot, I'm booked up for the next couple of weeks on those things, man. I got enough debate stuff, man, to last me for quite some time. So, I mean, with that, and I was telling the folks earlier, the hardest thing about it is, getting the people together. I don't really have a shortage of people to the debates, getting side A versus side B. That's where the rub is. But as far as the personnel, there's plenty of that, man. And I'm going to see where it goes. I'm going to continue to do it as long as the folks want to see it. I think that works because, see, it's not me. All I do is host them. I put them together. The folks write me. They tell me who they want to see, who they want to debate, what they want them to debate about. And I just set them up. I mean, I don't pick the debaters, nor do I pick the topics. I let the folks do it. They write me and I calculate the numbers and I try to put the folks together, and that's it. I guess that's why it works, because this is what the people want to see. And, they get to choose what happens. Like I said, I just host it. I just host a party. The people throw it. So I guess that's why it works.
Dig that. Dig that.
That's why it works, man.
Where's TP? What's his name? TPN or TPT?
Yeah, the nameless protagonist. I think he's coming. I don't know. I think he should be coming in a few minutes. I think he's on Central Time. Yeah, I think he's on Central Time. So he said that he would be, I think he said he would be done 11 Central. So I think that would be midnight for where I am, because I'm on the East Coast. So I guess we'll see him in a few minutes. He had wrote me because he said he was still working. So I wanted him to come, because I was thinking, me, not to continue to say this, but I was thinking, we'll have a little round table, talk about the interview and what happened. And, this lady messed it all up, man.
Yeah, man. 20 minutes before.
But
come on. Yeah, man.
Yes, 20 minutes, man. 20 minutes before we were supposed to go on the air, I get this damn email. And I'm like, what? So, of course, I write them back. And I'm like, yo, I mean, I had put a lot of things aside for this madam, and I didn't speak to her. I spoke to her PR people. So, I'm like, going through like the middleman or the middle woman, if you will.
Right.
And they were like, oh, Xavier, we're so sorry. We're sorry we had to do this, but the weather. And I'm like, fine. I said, well, if we're going to get back together, it's going to be at least a few weeks, because, I'm booked up for the next couple of weeks. So I don't know what to tell you. So if they reach back out, I might entertain it, but I'm not going to be getting back in contact with them. Absolutely not.
How'd you get hooked up with her? How did you?
They came to me.
Really?
They came to me. Yeah, they came to me. I mean, when you see people like her, they come to me. I didn't fish them out. They wrote me. And they said they wanted to come on. And we talked and we haggled. And the crazy thing is, this date wasn't even the first date that we had settled on, because we actually haggled for dates. We settled on this date. They came to me. They wrote me and said, hey, we know you're in Charlotte. We want to have an interview. We want to sit down, blah, blah. I said, okay, fine by me. I get those kind of requests all the time, man. I got, because I'm on something called Radio Guest List. I've been a member of that for, since 2016. So I have something called like a chain email server, and basically what it is, it's like an ad stating who I am, what I do, what my topics are, who I like to talk to, and they can actually put in a request to come on my show. And they put in a request, and when they put in the request, it comes to my email. So I answer, I respond and say, hey, look, yeah, I'd like to have you on. I got a lot of people that come through there, man, that are straight kooks. I have some people that are pretty decent. I mean, I filled about well, this week I fielded about 25 offers. I'm looking through about 5 of them because I'm trying to stay within my brand. I have everybody from children books authors, inspirational speakers, preachers, war veterans. I mean, all kinds of people come through that hub, man. All kinds of people. It's just that most of them I don't have on my show. Most of them I just don't, because they don't fit the brand. What they want to talk about and what they want to discuss doesn't fit the brand. So I don't even bring them on. A lot of them I don't even respond to. I don't even respond to them at all because they don't fit the brand. She fit the brand. So I said, okay, fine. We get up here, we'll talk about some black folks concerns, that'll work. And I entertained their offer and I got stood up. That's pretty much it. Brother TMP, what's good with it, man?
Family, what's good with you? Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, man. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, I had to go through a whole Assassin's Creed mission to get home tonight, family.
Assassin's Creed. Well, I'm glad you made it there, man. I'm glad you made it there, brother. So what's going on, man?
Man, I can't call it, man. I was over here listening to you guys chop it up on the way home today.
Mm-hmm. Have you had a chance to see the whole Gayle King thing, her and Lisa Leslie, concerning Kobe Bryant?
I did. And, there was a lot of 2 things I want to say. And you guys covered it mostly, and it was interesting. I'm not going to go over the obvious, right? Like it's evident what we saw happen. And shout out to the sister that was being thorough about it and, really not disrespecting this man after he died. You understand what I'm saying? I think that was an excellent way to maintain character and, stay on code with it, because that's what it should be about at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We're on national TV, and that's not the place to be trying to push no kind of agenda with all of this. Like, we done seen this happen to NFL players, folks getting kicked out the league. You know what I'm saying? Black men been under attack for a minute. So, we got to big that up, right? But my issue was when she came back and tried to pull the victim card, right? Off the, okay, my network set me up. Unless that first couple minutes leading to that segment that was put up says, I'm going to assume the role of an individual trying to attack Kobe, there's no excuse for it. Because she's had too many, the way the lining of question is, you do interviews all the time. It was the way in which the line of questioning came about. That it's that she can't claim plausible deniability. She can't claim out of context, whatever. Each of those questions was an attempt to drag out or lure information which could be incriminating to support that narrative. That's the BS. Context ain't have nothing to do with it. The segment spoke for itself.
Pretty much. I think, and like me and Brother P.Dat was talking earlier, now she wants to blame the white man. The white man gave her the cards, and the white man told her what to say. And I mean, come on, man, let's stop this nonsense, because we all know that if you saw those cards before the interview, if you really felt that way, you could have said, hey, look, I'm not going to ask these questions.
That's her whole career, though. I mean, that's her whole career, right?
Come on, man.
This ain't the first time she saw that. Like, I don't buy the dishonesty. Nobody has time for that, and nobody else was buying it either.
She's trying to turn it around, man. She's trying to spin it. She's trying to, like you said, be the victim. And, it's not what y'all thought it was. Don't believe your lying eyes. It's just one of those trips, man. You didn't see what you saw, folks. That's what she's telling us. You didn't see what you saw.
They got a term for that. It's called gaslighting. Real talk.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, man, this is BS, man. It's total BS, man. It just is. And I was telling Brother P that, man, I'm glad to see that brothers kind of like, brothers just went in on this, man. Like, wait a minute, lady, what are you doing? Knock it off.
I think too long people just been comfortable with us not saying anything because we've been afraid to lose something. This stuff got diminishing returns. You cry wolf so many times, you're only going to be able to get away with doing that so many times before people just look at you sideways and keep it pushing. Like the shaming tool is not working. It really isn't. And so, we've seen this too much with this whole agenda on TV about trying to throw black men under the bus as these super predators and whatnot. And then they got absolutely nothing to say when, the same thing go down with Terry Crews or something. I mean, yeah, you can say, he put himself in that position, being in that sphere, but, so did everybody else that was involved in a lot of these scenarios. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're going to attack one side, use the same energy for the other two. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and we spoke about this earlier, man, with they keep throwing this up about Kobe. Fine. He got accused of something. All right. He got accused of it. And no, the thing never went nowhere. The case got dismissed and all that kind of stuff. I guess the girl didn't want to testify, whatever case may be.
Fam. She admitted she made it up.
Exactly. So, for us to keep, I'm not saying it, but for these people to keep saying that this man did this, they're literally saying that he did this. All right. Now, mind you, and me and the brother Brandon was talking about this earlier. Weinstein, who everybody knows, is in court right now. I think I saw a news story the other day where some other women have come forward about him doing some sexual misconduct nonsense. And this person was one of Oprah's bros, if you will. And she has no smoke for him. None. Absolutely none.
I was saying,
why don't you? Why?
Black men in general just do not have, again, a cultural cutout slot for us to be recognized as men. And I don't think it's ever happened here. And I hate to go back to because of slavery, but frankly, it is because of slavery. We had all of that cultural identity literally cut out. And we get left with this shadow of, okay, well, here's your protect and provide role. All right. So what about the authority dynamic outside of that? Crickets. And when you do see it, it's in very controlled pockets, okay, immediately inside your household. Step outside that door and it's a big question mark. Meanwhile, other groups of men have a level of authority that is intrinsically implied. We don't get that. So we don't get things like respect, benefit of the doubt, and treated with, innocent until proven guilty. It's instantly guilty until proven innocent. And it's no different than what we went through even during the periods in the United States when slavery wasn't enacted. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the North, during the 1700s and all of that, you still had second class citizenship. During Jim Crow and Reconstruction, you still didn't get that status. You know what I'm saying? So people it's baked into the culture. People are comfortable treating us like, these perpetual boys, I guess, that are grown, that, we can pay taxes and do all of that like everybody else, even have kids, but we don't get no authority or any benefit of the doubt to actually enjoy real citizenship. I guess agency is that word, right? Yep. It's frustrating, man, because we see it playing out now. And we used to think for so long that, it was just us, right? Like the individual speaking metaphorically. But, we get online and we see it's just too many of us say the same damn thing. Like this can't be a coincidence. At that point, it's systematic.
Exactly. And if you say these things, people say, well, y'all are just complaining, y'all are just whining, y'all are just whatever. When they know, especially when you got men saying it, when they know, guess what? Some of the concerns that brothers voice, guess what, man? They know they've lived some of it too. They know they've experienced some of it too. I just guess a lot of people, they have a vested interest in keeping the status quo as well, because like you said, brother TNP, we are scared to lose something, whether it be a job or an opportunity or a woman or a relationship or whatever we have that would, be in jeopardy if we voiced these things. We say, you know what? It's better to just not voice them. It's better to just not talk about them. That's better, And unfortunately, there's only a few of us in that position. I mean, see me, I don't work for nobody. So I don't stand a risk of being fired, by my boss by the things that I say, because see, you're looking at my boss. Okay, you're looking at him.
You
So
know what that
I ain't
word
gonna
is called?
I ain't gonna fire myself for what I say because I totally agree.
That word is agency. And it's something
There it is.
we don't know what that's like as an aggregate, unfortunately. Too few of us
Mhm,
understand that. And that's supposed to be
mhm.
implied with freedom. And it's like
Exactly.
I really see us having a disproportionate lower tier share of that compared to our female counterparts. And I don't even think they realize it. And that's the crazy part to it all. It really is. Especially when a lot of us give that up so that they can have that step forward. I really get tired of having status reports being categorized as complaints, right? Like when we
Mhm,
describe the situation on the field, you instantly do get flagged as being a complainer. But the question is,
mhm,
how on earth are we supposed to make improvement with incorrect intel off the strength of, well, it's going to hurt morality if you say what's going on out there in the field? And we in a whole war right now. Literally, like, metaphorically speaking, right? You know what I'm saying? You can't
mhm,
move no troops. You can't really direct no resources, no logistics without your intel being in check. And if you're not getting correct intel, you're as good as done. I don't care how skilled your soldiers are, how good your strategy, how well you've trained for your tactics. It's irrelevant at that point. Intelligence will trump all of that. So if we're not having an accurate description of what's really going on the field, how are we supposed to operate? We can't. And this is where we get, when you tell the truth, getting back to what you guys were saying earlier, which is what that is, instantly recategorized as complaining. And so what are
mhm,
people really left to do that you see? Take themselves as their own independent agent sovereign and do what's best for them. And when it's starting to work, it's a whole problem because this dude just did something on his own volition with his own agency without getting permission from anybody. And even though they should be actually asking, how did you do that, and being, congratulatory, they're instantly chastised and trying to and get emasculated for it. And you see folks getting dragged all across the news. The latest example of that being Kobe Bryant.
mhm. Exactly. Well, we are without even knowing it. I think a lot of black men are expected to be the strong, silent type with the emphasis on silent. Um, they see black men being strong as black men, willing to put up with any kind of crap, with black men willing to not, voice his concerns, with black men willing to take the most ridiculous things and treat them as if they're not ridiculous. I heard a clip that Brother Obsidian had played. I think this was last week. I don't know if you were on the show too, Brother P. That. And he played a clip of Ilana Van Zant. And they had a few brothers up there. And these brothers, they didn't say they was SYSBM, but they said that they were brothers who, you know, had issues, you know, with black women. And they, you know, they said what they said. They introduced themselves, and, you know, they talked about how black women have attitudes and all that kind of stuff. And Van Zant, she said, well, I have a son too, and I taught him to just stand in it, you know, just stand
Yeah, I was on
stand
that
in
show.
the
Yeah, I was on.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really, lady? You actually teaching your son to put up with all kinds of nonsense, and you're actually looking to be given some type of accolade for this? Like, I mean, and this is what she's telling these young brothers, that, you know, I taught my sons to just deal with that nonsense.
You know what kills me with that though? In the same breath, right? She'll be the same one in her feelings when she's on the train and somebody with that same ideology is standing there watching her get her ass whooped
Mhm,
because she opened her mouth and said something, and they didn't
mhm,
tolerate it. And I'm just like,
mhm,
you can't be putting watermelon seeds in the ground and be mad, you know, expecting apples. You understand what I'm saying? That's absolutely crazy.
mhm.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about us as African, as men, well, men in general, but African American men, is that, and just like what you're saying, brother, is that, you know, they don't want us to. Anytime that we say anything, or for example, if we say you stepped on my foot, if you say ouch, so black men are not, we are not, we're not allowed to say ouch. If we say ouch, you're complaining. The thing is
Yeah,
that they require, I mean, we are required, and this is a phenomenon with just all men, you know, and but through these various platforms, the internet has given us a way to say ouch. Now we're inveighing against sin and fuckery and bullshit and the matriarchy and the gynocracy, because it's no longer expedient for us as men to even attempt. I mean, there's a merit to some degree of stoicism. Stoicism, you know, stoicism is good, but stoicism gone too far is self-flagellation. We, you know, I think that making ourselves our own best asset is probably the most manly thing that we can do, but that requires that we advocate for ourselves. And I think that, like you were saying before, Brother Xavier, that, you know, with this whole Kobe Bryant and this Gayle King, the brothers is like, no, 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 ouch. You know, that's bullshit
yeah,
what you did. You know, you that dart
yeah,
that you just threw at the brother Kobe, and that dart that you just threw, Lonnie Love, on a whole segment of men, that hurts. And I'm letting you know
yeah.
that hurts, and I'm telling you why it hurts. And then
Hey,
people will
We
say,
all felt it.
we're complaining, you're bitching and moaning, you're whining and crying. What no, what we're doing is we're defending our boundaries, and we're advocating for ourselves, which is what people are not used to men doing in general.
hey, but you know, brother P,
Nope.
that just to use some of that fire with fire, right? Since uh, what's the name on that show want to be like black men bad because of slavery, right? All those characteristics we just finished describing, those were ideal characteristics for what?
Did you cut off? What'd you say, for what? A man?
On the plantation, right?
Right.
That would have been
Mhm,
ideal behavioral dynamics for a male on a plantation.
That's right.
And this is
mhm.
what I'm talking about the whole passing on the culture that was developed there and then acting brand new about it like they don't know, because it's literally like a ritual. You know, this whole buck breaking cycle gets carried on by the women in the family, and the dudes co-opt on it, and we do it thinking that we're helping somebody out, because in captivity that would have helped you, you know, but we're not in captivity anymore. So it's interesting because psychology has a way of trying to recreate scenarios even if they're not there. So even if we're not in captivity, it's like we recreate a scenario mentally as if we are, and we go vicariously doing the same thing over and over again and wondering why we keep getting these results.
Well, I think when it comes to that kind of stuff, I think, you know, because women can get away with saying any damn thing, and I think they know it. because I said this earlier. If you flip those tables and you got 5 men sitting up there, right? And one black man who's sitting up there and he says, you know what? Black women are not faithful. And somebody else, the Hispanic guy on the panel, says, well, you know, that's women in general. And he doubles down and he says, nope. He said it's black women because of slavery. He would be fired, and so would the Hispanic guy who said that it was all women. Okay,
Facts.
you'd have 2 empty slots on that panel by the end of the day. So, I mean, the women can pretty much say whatever they want to say. All right, even in a venue like that. All right, a man couldn't say that same type of thing in a venue that's much smaller than that. Okay, there's certain radio hosts that wouldn't be able to say something like that. You know, I mean, it's if for her to get up in front of millions of people and say that, and for nobody to blink, for the network not to blink, for males who are part of that network who sit on the board of directors or the board of trustees and not blink, it's just incredible to me. I think what has happened in all these years, when you talk about the things that women have the ability to say without any type of repercussions, I think that that's something that is just entrenched in society, man. You know, just women in general. I mean, forget black women, that's a whole different deal, but women in general are pretty much able to say whatever they want. Yeah, they can say whatever they want, man. They are allowed to offend whoever they want. They are allowed to disrespect whoever they want. They are able to use racial overtones whenever they feel like it. And no one's to say nothing. It's as if people are saying, oh, you know, she's just a woman. Let her say it. I mean, and I think there's too much of that. I think that the time for those type of things have come to an end. I think they should be held a little more responsible for the things they say. Not to compare them to men, but to hold them to account for the things that come out of their mouth, especially when these things are out of context, when these things are quote unquote offensive, disrespectful, or flat out wrong. I don't think they should just be able to get away with saying it simply because they are a woman. I mean, to me, that's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Because what you're saying is you're treating them like children now. And you're saying, oh, well, you know, they don't know any better. So we'll just let it slide. And see, women have taken advantage of that. Okay. And we talk about women from every socioeconomic background, whether it be somebody raised in the projects or somebody like Alani Love. She knows she can get up there and say whatever the hell she wants. She knows that going in. When she's in her dressing room, before she starts her show, she already knows that when she goes out there on that stage, she can say whatever the hell she want to say, and ain't nobody going to do anything about it. That's the problem.
It is, and it's on a man. I could go all night on that alone. But I just want to say real quick, DC man, what's up, fam?
Yeah, what's cracking, Bob?
Hey, what's good?
Thought
What's
I
good with it,
recognized
DC? Just I don't want to leave you out here, bro. I get to run in my mouth, boy. God damn it. You know.
What's good, fellas? Can you hear me? Can I be heard?
Yeah,
we can.
yeah. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, man, I have so many, but I think that you guys are hitting it, man. You guys are on the right track. One of the things that I have noticed, and you know, I said it in the chat earlier, you know, BFF knows no bounds, it knows no degrees, it knows there is no such thing as educating yourself out of the BFF territory. Like this is something that's embedded into the culture. My sisters have been tainted. and it's time for us to do the hard check. Whether you are a brother that you know wants to be respectable, that want to respect the sisters.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna drop down for a minute. Brother P, that you got it. I'll be back in a few minutes. All right.
Word up.
Cool. Whether you want to respect the sisters, whether you want to be a brother that's not going to be disrespectful, I think what what needs to happen, and it needs to happen, you know, however it needs to happen, the honesty needs to go. It needs to go full bore now. Like, some of this needs to be, they need to be honest. Like, we can't allow women to hide in spaces and be like, no, I love black men when you really don't. No, I'm not a hoe when you really are. No, I'm not like that. You know, no, I'm not like this, you know, And this is not no, you know, I'm a brother. I'm not about trying to hate on the sisters, man. And I shouldn't even have to say that, but I'm caveating it because I know that's what this sounds like. And you know, the way that the language has been characterized now in these spaces. And look, man, you know, it's something where they have compromised the group of brothers, man, whether on whether the pro-black side or on the educated lame side. And for the brothers that are directly in the middle, hold on, baby girl, for the brothers that's like in the middle, we're the ones that are getting all the feedback for, you know, doing the things that are out here that's necessary. Like a couple of brothers I know that's on the program. I don't know, Pete, if you ever listened to me before. And I think that's Judge, you on the line, right? I don't know if you ever listened to my program before, but the program that I do is generally about racism, white supremacy. That's the focus of it. I'm not blaming black people for our condition. Hold on. I'm not blaming black people for our condition, but what have come blatantly obvious to me is that if I don't speak about black women's fuckery, so to speak, and I don't know if Brother X allows you know us to use that kind of language, but excuse me if that's the case.
You're good,
But if we don't speak honestly to the fuckery, because I know it on all levels, from the hood rat to the chick that got, you know, security clearances at Fort Meade. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I know it from all realms.
Facts.
And it's all the same to me. I don't care what kind of degree she has. I don't care what school she graduated from. I don't care if she went to Duke University. I don't care if she went to Georgetown Law. You feel me? I have smashed all of them, from Staten Road all the way up to the White House. It doesn't matter. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm being as honest as I can be. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to say that I'm this and I'm that. I'm just giving it the hard, broad truth. And what
they don't want that though.
No. But see, brother, here's the thing. I noticed that a voice like mine hasn't been heard. I listen to all you guys. You see what I'm saying? And it's either extreme here or extreme there. You see what I'm saying? I'm neither the educated lame, and I'm neither the pookie. You see what I mean? But I was raised in the hood, and I've been educated. But I don't fall in those spaces, so I don't join any groups. I'm not joining SYSBM. I'm not joining the B1 network. I'm not that dude. You see what I'm saying? That's not me. That's not my circle. But have I dealt with all these women? Yes. Have I dealt with their effery? Yes. Have I seen it all to the bounds of what it is? Married chicks, single females, hoes, freaks, whatever the case may be. The attitude and the atmosphere is all the same. You feel me? So that's the reason why I'm like, you know what? Let me speak on this a little bit more, because I noticed, like, on our program, like, it doesn't get much traction, but I want to kind of give our voice a little bit more of a perspective, because I don't hear my voice being heard out there. You feel what I'm saying? From this particular perspective, I don't join groups.
There's a lot of moderation that you just may not be hearing, because it's not really popular. And at this point, it's kind of like you have to draw a line in the sand, because the lack of holding people accountable, specifically women, rather women in general, but black women in particular, just hasn't been played out. And one of the discussions I was on not that long ago, kind of dealing with this, I made the suggestion that we just don't have enough examples of men checking this, especially not in public, especially not immediately when it manifests. You know, it's just gotten to a point where it's just casual, and it has to begin with the ground of respect. And we have to learn, or rather unlearn, that a lot of the passive behavior we experience when we're dealing with a lot of women, you know, that shit is dysfunctional and disrespectful, and we don't need to tolerate that off the jump. And
do you know how many of these women that you could just call up on a late night creep? I'm talking about very educated women that stay like near the math. I know you know the area.
Fam, I've done it.
So what I'm saying is, I'm saying like I'm talking about high level jobs to the point where they got security clearance where you just smashing the joint. These dudes call you to ask you questions about her because you in the vicinity. You want her number ring too many times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm giving up too much, but what I'm saying is this is not a hood issue. You feel what I'm saying? This is a black culture issue, which has permeated all of us.
Oh yeah, but that's what we're talking about. We're not isolating this as just one sector of it all, because at the end of the day, the common denominator is female nature, frankly. So when you understand that that's going to be a constant, and that female nature is inspired by environment, and environment can be a social thing and it can be an economic thing. But when you see those same things on every layer, that's why BGS has a great series called the Octane series, where he kind of gets into those different stratas of classification, and how even amongst them, they have their own special levels of BS that goes on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, of course, there's a common denominator there, which again goes back to female nature, which is why we need to not be afraid to deal with it and think that there's this grass is greener on the other side with this nonsense, because fuckery is fuckery at the end of the day. But it still pays respect to a man that respects himself. And that's just something we have not gotten the opportunity to truly express and get examples of, or even have the time to sit down and chop it up as a group. And so, of course, you're going to get folks that have very extreme responses to the situation, because you can only do this for so long.
So here we go. Let's give you an example of what I'm talking about. So earlier in the chat, there was a sister in there, and she was saying like not all black women the whole, the thing. You know how they do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys know. I don't know the sister. I never seen her before. But I was just like, nah, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Basically, just saying that just continues the illusion. You see what I'm saying? And then it just continues the actual falseness, because a lot of these spaces, right? Just to like what Brother X was saying earlier, Love can get up there and just G-check everybody up on the panel, because she feels like she's the only true black woman up there. None of them are truly black like her. The biracial up there, she thinks she could G-check her because she has a white parent. All this foolishness, man. Just whether it's colorism, whether it's like I'm the darkest one in the group, I'm the one to get double dipped on the mistreatment, whatever the case may be. And then they just G-check the whole thing and be like, I could just say what I want to without no repercussions.
Facts.
Somebody just looked at it and just, when somebody just looked at it and just say, yo, you full of shit.
Right. But that's
you're talking to your pain. You're talking because dudes just to come through, smash you down and douche your ass, even though you on TV. And you was tired of that shit.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying? Because nobody wanted to be seen with your ass. That's the truth.
I say like this, a lot of them have taken on. Don't you know how you be like, your mama would tell you to do something? You'd be like, well, go upstairs and wash the dishes. And you'd be like, why? Because I told you so. That's just basically, it's like they done just took that line and just extended it to everything. Basically, it's like they just think that they can tell whatever they're allowed to say what the hell they want. You better do what the fuck they say. And unfortunately, what's so bad is it doesn't have to be a blatant call of disrespect to them. It could be something that if they felt that you were questioning them or disrespect them, so you don't even have to disrespect them, but just to actually you questioning them is a form of disrespect.
I would just ask,
and to them, they justify all of their actions, where other women won't even be like, well, you know what? You didn't need to call him all them types of names. The only thing he did was ask you a question. Yeah, but I know where he was going with that. But I mean, it's just acceptable.
and you looked at like you're attacking him, and now you weak, you're this, you're that, you're this, that, other.
But look,
you can't shame me.
He just said that I told you so paradigm. He just told you that I told you so paradigm, right? Remember Neely Fuller when he explained that whole principle of white supremacy of I told you so?
Yeah, because I told you so. Absolutely.
Right. So here we go again with the common denominator. What does Lonnie Love literally figuratively represent? The mammy dynamic.
Oh, the black mammy. Absolutely.
So here we are with the gynocracy and the white supremacist subroutine running, and all of the code fits in almost flawlessly. And what Judge was describing right now is exactly how white supremacists tend to look at black folks, but black dudes in general. I mean, the correlation is right there. And like, at this point, you can't address white supremacy until we address this. So like all your efforts is just like multiplying by 0 when you're trying to make progress through that. And that's why there really needs to be a separation of who's with the fuckery and who's not. You got to draw that line in the sand and be willing to take accountability.
I don't think it even gonna go like that. It is because the problem is this: we got so many people that unfortunately, even sometimes we are all guilty of taking more shit. Like, think about it. There's more of us that will take pop shots from a woman without saying anything back because we kind of used to, oh, well, that's a woman, they're emotional. Sometimes it's even like cold, even in the toughest of us, it's like hardwired in our DNA. We'll just take a lot more shit than normal. Where I'm not even gonna lie, the only way to purge this system is immediately any form of disrespect gets it met with the hammer. Any form of disrespect. I mean, literally go balls to the wall. You raise your voice, it's over with.
Agreed.
You call me a name, it's over with. You say some shit off the wall, over with. I mean, literally, that's the only way that they're gonna really, break this cycle. Because there's so many of us, we'll take so much shit, and a lot of times you'll take the disrespect and don't even realize, damn, man, you don't realize you was just disrespected right there.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are indoctrinated though, man. That's indoctrination, man. We've been this is what we've been trained and bred and groomed to believe. So of course we follow suit. I mean, we follow suit because this is what we think is right, man. A lot of us have been taught this ever since we were little boys. And people will say, well, your upbringing, doesn't dictate who you are all the time. Maybe it doesn't, but I think in this instance it does, especially maybe not all of us, but a big swath of us have been indoctrinated to believe that this is how things are supposed to go. So even as adult men, when it goes like this, we see it as the norm. This is the everyday. This is how things are supposed to be, even if it is detrimental to us.
Definitely.
See, our detriment doesn't mean anything.
Well, think about it. If you think of half of the times when you sit up here and actually see, like, especially when you see these fights where you see them, like, see these videos and you see like this woman just smacking the dude all day, and the men don't do not a damn thing. So the nigga then finally gets mad and he pushes her down. Then like 5 motherfuckers jump his ass. And it's just like, when you sit up here and think about it from, now step back and look at that from a point of view, you're like, wow, it was okay. I mean, this behavior was so condoned and just just let these women know that they allowed to do that, you had that much power. And then as soon as, the person defended themselves or whatever, they got pummeled. And I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people are laying probably in hospitals or dead. I mean, look at online. As soon as you say something, you hurt somebody's feelings, it's over with. I mean, you even hint at, like, say raping a woman in a song, sponsors and shit gone. But yet Cardi B can be like, oh yeah, I used to set men up, get them robbed, raped, all this other shit, this, that and the other, and bitch didn't lose not one sponsor. On top of that, you don't hear none of the things. You be sitting up here like, wow, I ain't even gonna lie. When I heard that, I'm like, she gonna lose sponsors. Nope. It was just like, that was allowed. I mean, women, and that just goes to show, basically, it's like, wow, these people are, you didn't give these people a check that they ass can't cash. And it's like, unlimited bank
like we said earlier, they can say whatever they want, man. I mean, that's just the reality at this point, where they can say whatever they want. They can offend you, they can disrespect you, they can do all that kind of stuff, and nobody bats an eye. When you're a man, you're supposed to be more controlled. You're not supposed to offend people, and you're definitely not supposed to offend women or make them feel bad. You're supposed to tell them special stories, because they have sensitive ears. So you have to tell them these special sensitive stories and not hurt their sensitive ears, even if they totally disrespect you, call you out your name, tell you ain't worth $1, all that kind of stuff. Even your response to that has to be within the guidelines of what their sensitive ears are willing to hear.
The point is,
That's,
what
that's the rule.
what they're trying to
But no,
do
what's
is
so bad
literally
is
set
it's
the
not like a
different.
playbook you follow. It's whatever that woman. You ever notice this? Whatever they decide at the moment wants to offend them. If they, I mean, so literally they can just. I mean, the bar just keeps changing, and they just. Well, I felt offended at the time, and that's all she has to. Too bad. Everything's justifiable after that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like what they're doing is trying to define masculinity as per their definition, and
Right.
folks have been taking it hook, line, and sinker, and it's got to stop. It really does. Period.
Yep.
So let me tell you guys the trick back. So what ends up happening, right? You get a couple of brothers, right, that are down for these females. It used to be like what I would call I'm gonna get them niggas up the block crew. So I'm gonna get them niggas, like, you know, I'm from DC. So, you know, we used to be messing with some girls, we made them upset. So they'd be like, I'm gonna get some niggas on you, I'm gonna get some niggas to go jump you. And then, you know, come to find out we knew these dudes. So it's like, these the dudes you talking about getting? They'd be like, oh man, what's up, man? You know. So what ends up happening is, right, we're so off code right now to the point where it's almost like they can make you an attack dog and you don't even know it. So even in these YouTube spaces, it's okay to call one group of females bitches, and then you're going to protect these other females over here, but then you're going to say, well, we all about the community. Well, hold on, brother. Like, if you're going to do this, because the like I said, the fuckery don't know a financial limit. It's not education. This is all the way around. So this is included with me too, with my family, my sisters, my mother, my grandmother, everybody. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that runs the gamut. It just depends on what level it is and how tolerable it is. That's all it is. And you know, whether she has a good man in her life that's basically leading her in the right direction. If she doesn't have that, then you know she's being led by other women, and you already know what that is. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, you get a whole group of females that are just in these basketball wives power ups, and they're just giving each other bad advice over bad advice over bad advice. Hell, they even ruined the ones that do got dudes. I mean, they can't even keep dudes that have basically bent their back over backwards just to be in a relationship with them, let alone a dude that's going to be thorough and just be like, you know what, shorty, I just want to see you on the weekend, and you know, we don't need to hang out like that because I can't even have a conversation with you. You know, it's bad to the point where brothers can't even have conversations with the sisters, man, to the point where y'all don't have nothing in common. Y'all can't talk about anything. You can't talk about politics. You can't talk about the community. You can't talk about any of this and try to build on that without it being some back and forth. So back
to that, they just take everything. So they take everything so to heart. And the problem is this: they hold grudges too damn long. So, you know, you piss somebody off on the first, you know, this bitch still pissed off about the conversation 6 months later.
But do you brothers
do
you brothers recognize that, like how these women are basically powering up, you know, making brothers attack dogs when they don't even need to be?
This is why you've got the metaphor.
She was telling me
is that just me? Is that just me that's noticing that?
This is why you have the metaphor of the hyena pack, right? Because when you look at a hyena pack, it operates in a full-on matriarchy, where the males are vying for control, or rather recognition by the matriarch for mating rights. And they just literally will sabotage each other left and right. And it's just the same behavior. You look at any black community, and you know, when we broke this down from the red pill perspective, you could look at it as the so-called beta orbiter. And most black men are raised to literally be handed off to another black woman eventually, or they're used as a tool to drop dick off up until that point. Usually it's the D boys, but sometimes if you fit that dynamic and they find out you slanging D right, you'll get in that club too, or if you learn game. But the vast majority didn't learn game, or word didn't get out until they got way, you know, much later on down the street, whatever. But the bottom line is you were groomed to be handed off to somebody else. And then at the same time, everybody want to get amnesia about why you're not some kind of goal getter. I don't get it. I don't get
but
it.
That just seems it's just so backwards, because shouldn't it be the other way around, where, you know, females are being groomed to go off and be somebody's wives, as opposed to, you know, grooming these men for them to go and be abused by some woman? I mean, it just seems so backwards and bastardized to me, that whole system. I mean, and it doesn't work because you see what it's produced over the course of time. It's obviously not a system that works. It's not working for us.
Well, you know, the
Think about
problem.
it though. Actually, it is working. I mean, you sit up here and say that the system is not working. No, the system is actually doing what it's supposed to do. Think about it. You think about it. If you keep a generation, say you have a group of people, and you already should know, we as black men, we're used to struggling. We're used to working for everything we want. So you take the most people who gonna put their mind to it, the workhorses, and all of them are the generation, and you make it to where now these people ain't competing to do better. They're not being the workhorses of their America. I mean, think about it. Most of the inventions were made by us. The people actually working with their hands doing the shit. So what you do is you eliminated a whole group of people to where, well, fine. Now these people are dumb as hell, so I can put them in jail for any little dumb thing, make money off them that way. I mean, it works to do exactly what it's doing. Just because we don't see the logic of making people that way does not mean that this system didn't work in that way.
You just described the prison industrial complex, right? Go ahead.
Well, not even when it comes to that, but I mean, just say if you want to just make it bigger than that, and just say, well, fine, you done dumb down a group of people. On top of that, you got them being controlled. Who these people are more likely the strongest and could actually throw the government. But now you done actually dumb these people down to where they fighting within their own household, let alone trying to build their household to be any better. So what are they going to do? Their children ain't going to be shit to compete. Think about it. I'm trying to make my offspring be better than your offspring because they're going to compete against each other. Well, but if I done eliminated a whole group of people because of dumb shit, I mean, I just made it a lot easier for my offspring. Some people are, I mean, are actually out there like that. Well, I mean, Judge, if you just get some people that did infrastructure of all like this, they used to say we used to build bridges that were too short for buses to go to keep underclass people out of certain areas. We built all the places not on bus routes or anywhere there's a way to keep people. I mean, people were. You got to really watch out. Man is kind of evil when they want to be.
Well, let me add some nuance to that, because you're bringing up points, but they may not necessarily tie directly to what we're talking about. What we meaning to say is, for example, you've got where was I at with that? Lost my train of thought with it already.
Hey, you brothers, I really appreciate it. Thank you, brother Xavier, for having me on, man. I've got to bounce.
Oh, absolutely, brother P. That I'm gonna wrap this up in about 10-15 minutes anyway. I'm only gonna go to like 1 o'clock. So I appreciate you coming through, man. I do, man. We got to do this again, brother.
Absolutely, most definitely, man. You brothers have a good evening, and I'll catch you with y'all soon.
Peace, all right, my man.
Peace, man. Okay, I just remembered. So I was gonna bring up the Moynihan report. There was a direct intention for the Black community specifically to be integrated into the greater society. And what they found was the entire dynamic that was created, that we just finished talking about, created a system, or rather a tendency for Black women to, again, school, educate, and empower their daughters, and by virtue neglect their sons. And what that left was this dysfunction we're talking about. And frankly, the white collective saw that as not only toxic to their society, they couldn't do anything with it. The federal government can't flip that, because you do become a liability, and ultimately you are more expensive to keep there. And even if you do have the prison industrial complex put in place, you can't lock all of us up. Like, there's more Black men, for example, locked up in the United States alone than all women put together on the planet. So obviously, they can't afford to just continue to do that. So what are they doing now? There's probably a big undertone as to why there's a big push for Latin America to make its way into the United States so it can do what it originally had planned for us, which was be that buffer and be that fuel it needs to get the numbers to compete with other groups of people. Because what we need to come to terms with and realize is that technology is changing the field so quickly that it's going to be literally the Industrial Revolution times 100. when automation kicks in and we have things like gene editing becoming mainstream, we're not going to be talking about whether or not somebody's black or white. It's going to be a matter of, can your group afford, can your country afford the cybernetic upgrades to compete with other groups of people who are genetically modifying their brains to be more successful and more powerful, and thus more economic control over resources that are going to be dwindling by the day. Like, this is the conversations we're having. They already got a whole space corps lined up that Trump signed in last month. A space corps. They're sending aircraft into space to do satellite proxy wars with drones. Like, this is where we're at right now. You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
well, what I fear though is that many black people, because of how we are, because let's be honest, man, a lot of us haven't really evolved and kind of, caught up or grown with how, the world and technology and information has grown. Now we're part of it now. I'm not saying we're not a part of it, but some of us, and I think many of us, we are part of it, but we're part of it on like the back end. We're all engrossed with media and YouTube and Facebook and Snapchat. Those parts of technology we're all in on because it allows us to, pull out our phone and now we go live and we got our own network in our pocket. But these technologies that you speak of, I think many of us are behind, and I mean way behind the curve on that kind of stuff. Therefore, many of us are going to find ourselves left behind, because while they shooting stuff into space and doing gene editing and gene splicing and making people who are smarter and faster and stronger, some of us are still going to be taking selfies on Facebook.
real talk.
Come on, man.
And as many
There's
times,
always gonna be room for idiots, as we say. There's always gonna be.
but this is the agency conversation, right? And that's what my concern is, because I'm pissed off that they can already make literature about folks being in damn outer space, and I still don't see no black people on there.
Exactly.
That don't even make
There it is.
fiction. We can't even be seen. So what the hell is that saying about reality?
Well, the fact is too that says a lot too, though. When it comes to us, unfortunately, as a group of people, we don't really. Where I say, especially in the last 20, 30 years, it seems like instead of us trying to work harder to get any further than we are, all we do is try to work harder at doing the least. It's like, if you don't notice, in our children, they don't instill nothing about getting decent grades, why you need to do this. I mean, here's a quick, go to your local library. Since they put all that money into all the libraries, you go into all the libraries and now they got game rooms and all that stuff crap. Now, if you ever notice, you'll watch and see the Chinese people, the Jewish people, they'll be all studying. Now, when you go to the library and see the black kids, they're all up in the game rooms, either on the social network or playing a damn video game. Now, think about at a library where you see the
And that's
Jews,
sad.
the Chinese, where are they? They sitting up there working together, and you wonder why ain't no intelligent black people.
No, there is. But look,
they're few and far between. Compared to them,
I agree.
right? That's the problem. Who gives a shit if we could outnumber them 500 to 1? But I bet you, say for every 10 smart people over there, there's probably a million damn black people that's ignorant as fuck.
What I was gonna say,
just the problem is we don't value anything that can help us in life.
Well, to tie that point in, I was going to ask you just a basic question. How many people do you think are born in the black community on purpose and with intention?
Oh, well, shit. A lot of us ain't born on purpose. Well, let me take that back. Depending on what the purpose is. If the purpose is, I'm not even gonna lie. In the black community, a lot of these children that are born, and I'm not even gonna go out and say it wasn't because the parents wanted a kid. The parents knew that, well, wait a minute, I'm a broke motherfucker. I know if I have a child, at least I don't have to worry about the rent being paid and never having to worry about a place to live because I'm gonna always have a place to stay.
You see the problem?
Yeah,
Really
but
what it is.
that's
And that's
your life plan. That's
no,
your life
no,
plan
if you
to
don't
have
realize and look at it, that's what a lot of
to
these
get
people.
Yeah, but a lot of these pregnancies aren't planned. I mean, a lot of these pregnancies, come on, man. Let's be honest, man. A lot of babies are just oops, babies. Oops, I'm
Right.
screwing. Oops,
Right.
I'm
Right.
pregnant. Oops, here come a
just-
baby.
Right.
I was just about
So,
to
I
say
mean,
that.
there is
Right.
no plan. I mean, there's
No
no
plan at all.
I
Which
mean,
is my-
you know how many times, man, I've seen women coming out of hospitals with brand new babies and they got to get on the bus. Ain't even nobody there to pick them up. The baby still got on the damn hospital blanket. I mean, nobody to give them a ride. They ain't got a car seat. They on the bus with a newborn freaking baby, man. Come
Now,
on,
you
you're talking about this was a plan? How the hell was that a plan? This what you planned? This is how you plan this child to come into this world like that?
You want to hear something funny,
man.
Prophet of Thought? My
So
my
if-
girlfriend's laying right here next to me. Listen to this conversation. Actually, she works at University Hospital in the Rainbow
Oh, so
Baby
she already know.
Park. So she sees like
She
literally.
already-
You hear this
she
shit?
already knows.
Because she talks all the time.
It's not
Man,
even-
these motherfuckers,
it's
and like
bad.
literally, they come in
It's
to
bad.
the fact that where she was saying that they even take. I mean, it's so common. They got code words what they use as these women coming in don't know who the baby daddies is. Or they getting fights up there about finding out who the baby daddy is. That's bad when they got fucking code words that they use that they'll say like, these are two baby daddies who think they the baby daddy fighting. And they got code that they put over the radios and shit. That's bad. So I mean, when you sit up here and look at that,
so
it's
you
just
check this out, Judge. Check this out, Judge. Just real quick, protagonist. Hey, you remember when on our program we played that skit from Soul Sunday with Claudia Jordan as when it was interviewing those single women.
Oh God, yes. Holy shit.
So you guys see this clip, it would blow your mind. The reason why that clip is so apropos to what you just said, right? She even said it herself. It was like they was trying to be on code, but they slip up. You get them in comfortable spaces. You just allow women to talk, man. Because see, here's the thing: they really do think we stupid. See, at the end of the day, man. At the end of the day, they do talk in code. They talk about if you don't think the woman haven't already read the rights about how good you are in bed, how long your thing is, what you're doing to her, if you can break her back or not, to her best and most solid friend, you're mistaken, bro. And she was talking about one of her friends, Claudia Jordan. Now you know how ratchet she is, right? Biracial, by the way. Claudia Jordan. She was talking about she had a friend with 17 to 18 abortions. Now, you know what that means. That means that she probably didn't have 10 herself. 17 to 18 abortions?
That was crazy.
Well, I told you, my daughter's mother, her best friend was like that. This woman had so many damn fucking abortions. She had her own chair with her name on it at the place.
I used to date a doctor. Right? This is how bad it is, bro. This is how bad it is. She said pretty much all the nurses up there giving it up. All of them, whether married, this and that. And it's so crazy, man. I don't know if you guys heard about the whole situation where at the local county jail in Baltimore, where this one dude, this one brother, he got five female guards there, pregnant, bro.
Right.
You know how many times this dude is smashing around the same time?
Right.
Pregnant.
But that ain't nothing new. I mean, that's
probably out in
quite
the parking
common,
lot
man. You would never believe.
fighting over them.
I've seen a lot of women in the healthcare field. They said that they fuck like crazy in the healthcare field. Like literally, I've heard women say, "I would never date a man that worked in the healthcare field because he done probably ran through everybody at work."
On lunch, taking her to Subway. When she tell you I'm going out with my friend, we going to Subway or something like that. Yeah, you need to check your girl, bro. You need to check your girl.
No. Not taking her to lunch. Think about it. You in nursing homes. They got plenty of rooms you can duck off. And from what I done heard, women that told me
Oh, we already know what's
Williams
going down.
is a
We already know what's going down
juggernaut.
at the hospitals. I'm just saying, like, when she's like, "Oh,
Right.
I'm just gonna go up here with Leonard to Subway real quick." Yeah, and he's gonna top him off before y'all go back into the building. Come on, man. Because I
Right.
was one of those dudes getting topped off. I'm trying. The girl's neck was so strong, I didn't even want to do the dude like that because she introduced me to the dude on one of their anniversary birthday parties. Right? I mean,
Isn't that
you
crazy?
talk about. I always wanted to get with you. I always wanted to get. Well, what is this? I
Right.
know your dude.
Right.
Don't mean shit.
I'm just you introduced me to him, and it don't even matter.
Let Brother TNP get in here because I'm gonna end this in about 5 minutes, man. Because I gotta get up out of here.
I'm gonna tell the truth, man. I'm gonna let it know, bro. I'm gonna let it know.
Go-
This is crazy, bro.
Go ahead,
But
Brother
the whole
TNP.
reason why I had asked that question and set it up that way is to really answer your observation, Judge, which was why those kids were in the library playing games and not doing anything, and everybody else from other ethnicities were in there focused and doing something. Because every single one of those kids that weren't born that way were born with a purpose. When you have us sitting up here in mass like that, being born for no reason, ultimately, you literally reset all progress that we made from the plantation back to zero.
Definitely.
And so what you've done is you've recreated the situation of 1865 every single time you do that crap. And they've already shown that most wealth doesn't go beyond 2 to 3 generations anyway in this sphere, unless you make aggressive stances to do otherwise, which we clearly haven't. So I can even say in the case of my family, during Jim Crow, we were paid. In Florida, we had bread. My grandfather was a millionaire. As soon as Jim Crow ended, they took that stuff, moved. He went, became a member of the House of Representatives in Alaska, divorced my grandma, and moved to Brazil. All the rest of the money that was in the family between my grandmother's side from the businesses they own in Tampa, they own grocery store chains and restaurants, millions, all squandered for no reason after they moved out of the South to go live with folks in D.C. and New York. And that's a direct line of effect of people still alive in my family. Wealth just gone. So here we are living in Woodbridge. You already know about Hoodbridge. I already told you about that. 3-story house full of nothing. And the only reason why I got draws on my behind is because my grandma lived down the street.
Right.
That don't make no damn sense. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to see people with even less every single day. And that's why that frustrates me so damn much, because people want to downplay the importance of freaking culture and community and what that really means. And they're going to be out here having these kids for no damn reason.
No, they have the kids. They have the kids because they need somebody. Basically, like this is plain and simple. Most of these children are born out here, and when it comes to boil out, or when it all boils down to a lot of these young girls having kids, got no part, never thought about no future. But the fact is, if they figure like this, I have a child, at least I know my rent and all my food and shit gonna be paid. A portion, I mean, that's just you having a kid just off the whim with no plan, no whatever. That saves you at least 45% living expenses off the rip. You don't have to worry about that. Puts you in a different. There's certain protections that come up, and I just hate to say that, but it's just the truth.
These things are recipes for poverty, though, man. I mean,
well, of course, they're recipes for poverty. But think about it; these people,
one of the biggest hindrances,
no education. They don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, but their lives, like I always say, man, and I've told my sons and daughters this. I mean, if you broke and she broke and y'all have a baby, you know what you just did? You just created another broke person. Unless that baby gonna fall out of that hole with a fistful of $100 bills. Now you done went from 2 broke people to 3 broke people. I mean, it
doesn't make any sense on that aspect. But from a dumbed down perspective, think about it. At least some of these motherfuckers, they look at it as, I don't have to worry about my lights and shit getting shut off, and I'm gonna have a place to stay. Maybe in a fucking ghetto, but at least it's free. And that, unfortunately, is they priorities is all fucked up, and that's the problem in the black community.
Frankly,
Yeah,
I
but
just
if
see
you
that as
already gonna
literally
fuck
a
up.
continuation of what happened on the plantation of having big-on babies for no damn
yeah,
reason, but no freaking family. That's all that is at the end of the day.
That,
Because yeah, there
that's
may
yeah,
what
have
it
been
is.
those
exactly.
programs going on, but they were still doing this during damn Reconstruction. So I mean, like I'm not trying to take away from your point, Judge, but you know, you really need to also take into consideration there are a lot of these folks seriously having kids for no reason and trying to play compensation, and it don't damn work because they never had a plan. And then here you are. Now we go into the whole child support fuckery. Like it's just too much.
Mhm.
And those are considered successes. It's
Mhm.
just ridiculous. It's a Western thing, but you know, we're getting hit disproportionately with that. And no one's calling this shit out. And I'm tired of it.
Well, I mean, it's
Flying.
proof that, think about it. It's proof that you can tell us proof already that the kids ain't want it. There's proof already the kids ain't want it because last time I checked, any child that was wanted, the parents would be on them to make sure that they're successful. They want them to be something in life. Where
Mhm.
if their child's not successful, most people look at it as that's a failure on you.
hmm
I mean,
I think there's too,
when a
I
child
think
is
there's
just
too
when you
much.
just a subsidy, then that's the reason why they sit them in front of the damn television and whatever. Then you wonder why social media done raised the damn child. Then they, I mean, it's just
It's
really what it is.
it's
Facts.
it's too much flying the plane while you're building it. I mean, you're flying it and you're just trying to keep it from crashing. I mean, that's stupid, man. But
But it's
I'm
the
gonna
truth.
wrap this up. Parting shots before we get up out of here because I'm about to wrap this up and get on up out of here. Whoever want to go can go. Whatever parting shots you got, go ahead, take your shot.
I guess I'll go and I'll say, you know, just keep shit 100. Just that's all I'm saying. Be honest about it. Because unless you're honest about it all, man, you know, how are we supposed to fix this? Like, you know, at the end of the day, this is one of the few opportunities we've had as an aggregate to sit down and really chop it up and solve the issues. We don't need people conflating status reports with complaints. You know, the information is there, and every time we get new information, we do need to be updated because that's how you stay on top of a changing situation. It's dynamic. So, Brother X, thanks for having me up here. It's always a pleasure chopping up with you.
Absolutely, man. You
Shout-
got to come back, man. You got to
Oh,
come back, brother.
Of course, fam. And
Gotta
shout
come
out to the
back.
rest of the panel, Judge. I think this is the first time I've talked with you. It's probably going to be the first of many. I look forward to it.
Yeah,
And
come through, man.
Brother DC, same deal, man. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll
man,
see you on the
always
other
a pleasure,
side, brother.
man.
You know that.
All right, peace.
Peace, brother.
Nameless.
Next.
Yeah,
Next
man.
up.
So just as was Nameless was saying, man, I think that a lot of what our issue is that we haven't been very honest in our interactions, and it has poisoned us beyond even the interference from the so-called white supremacy that goes on in the overall management thing. So one thing that I would just suggest is to kind of get the focus to getting down to the truth. If that's what kind of discussion you're going to have about black female and black male relations, then we have to be brutally honest. If that's what we're going to do, if we're really trying to move forward past the nonsense. But we have to make a decision on what we really want to do. If we're going to go in separate ways with different people, the ideas, because that's a better way to even converse. Maybe that needs to happen. Everybody can't get along with each other, man, and that's one thing that I have noticed. You know, I tend to stay away from joining the group because I don't like groupthink myself. I think that it becomes toxic after a while because you're so ingratiated into whatever your ideology is. You don't look at different ideas from different people's experiences. So that's it.
Kind of like
I'll
being
just
in the
stand.
game.
Yeah. That's exactly.
That's
and
why I
and
don't
we
do the
haven't.
group thing
And
either.
it keeps things internal with us. So it's like we got small tribes with us, and that's why Africa was basically taken over. Those people didn't know that they was black yet.
Right.
Think about that. So they was different tribes, but these people were saying, no, you're just this thing, and we're going to treat you accordingly. So, you know, that's all I'm saying, man. It's just being honest and trying to be more constructive with our conversation. That's all.
All right. I appreciate you coming through, man.
No problem,
Welcome
man. No
anytime,
problem,
brother.
man. My first time. I'm a jazz or too excited, but you know, I just enjoyed the conversation, so I just wanted to share a little bit of my viewpoint. So thanks once again, brother X. I appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming through, brother.
Easy.
Brother Judge.
I mean, basically, a lot of things I'm gonna say is this: is unfortunately, if it we've let our community been run by the women too much. Unfortunately, the men are gonna have to step up, and we're gonna have to start leading our community. And the women, you're gonna have to step back and take a little side step. You don't have to worry about nothing though, because we ain't going nowhere without taking you with us. So instead of you thinking that we against you, trust me, because technically you the closest still thing to us, so you'll still always have favor. But unfortunately, y'all people are gonna have to step back and allow the men to lead, because unfortunately, the women, you don't have the strength nor the will and stuff like that to even fight the fight if it came down to that. And unfortunately, the women are gonna have to realize, wait a minute, we're doing this for the greater of all, not just the greater of a few of us.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming through, man. All right. You're welcome
Right.
here anytime, man. Don't let it be the
Yeah, I
last
know.
time,
I've
okay?
been stepping back from the panels a little bit from all the other crap.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming through, man. Peace.
All right, man.
Yeah. I gotta apologize to y'all, because I didn't know things were gonna turn out the way they turned out, but they still turned out good. I'm glad about that. Once again, another good show. I appreciate all these good folks right here as always. Um, what I need y'all to do now is get on down to Facebook. I want y'all to go ahead and get on Proper Thought series on Facebook. Proper Thought, one word series, the next word on Facebook. That's our group page, community page. Go ahead, like the page, share the page, follow the page. You even can catch up with old X there. You can drop me a line, and I'm guaranteed to get back to you within 24 and 168 hours. Also, while you're there on Facebook, get your black behind down to the Proper Thought Series fan group page. That's the Proper Thought Series fan group page on Facebook. Go ahead, request to be a member. You're guaranteed to get in there quick. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's Proper Thought. Leave out the series on Instagram. Go ahead, follow us on Instagram. You're guaranteed to get a follow back. And we got to end the night like this. Get your black behinds down to Twitter. The Twitter handle is at TPOT Media on Twitter. That's at TPOT Media on Twitter. Go ahead, follow us on Twitter, because if you don't, I will haunt you in your dreams. But anyway, good show tonight. I appreciate all the brothers coming through. I want to thank Brother P. That, Brother Brandon L., Brother TNP, Brother DC, and Brother Judge. You're always welcome on the TPOT YouTube page. So, with that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do. Open your minds, and we are out of here. Y'all. Peace, folks. Only from TPOT Media. Open your minds.